Hello, I think that we might be live. Let me check really quickly. Yeah, we are live. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we are meeting, my name is Oliver, and on this channel we talk about education and early career development in Finland. And during these weekly live Q&As, I basically answer all of your most burning questions about studying, living, and working in Finland. And how these live streams work is that in the description box below, I have a Google sheet, a Google spreadsheet. I have linked a Google form. If you want me to answer your questions live, please post your question into the Google form, again in the description box below, and that way I will have all of your questions here on the computer in front of me, and I will be able to answer your questions in the order that they are received. Before we jump into the first questions of this week, let me just super quickly link the live stream into our Discord server. If you, for some reason, are not yet a member of our Discord server, I highly recommend that you join. The idea of the server is to build a community of people interested in studying and working in Finland. And in the server, we have a bit more personal dialogue about all of these topics. And I post updates about upcoming videos and live streams just like this one. So again, if you want to join the Discord server, there's a link to that in the description box as well. Cool. All right. We had a couple of questions left from the last live stream. I wasn't able to go live last week. However, we still have a couple of questions that I will first start with, and then I will get into the first questions from this week. Before we do that, super quickly saying hey to everyone who's here. Rishi, what's up? Welcome. You're the first in the stream. Rock and roll. Yevgenia, hey, what's up? How are you? Hopefully you're doing fine. We have Harry Lau. Welcome everyone to the stream as always. And as always, guys, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your questions into the description box below. And let me know in the chat, how are you guys doing? Where are you streaming from? What is the local time where you are actually right now? It is 5:32 p.m. here in Helsinki, Finland, and it's bright as, in the morning. We are almost starting to, almost in the summer, and the days are becoming super, super long here. It's already bright before 6 a.m. in the morning, and it only gets dark after 10:30 or so in the evening. So the long summer days of Finland or of the Nordics are actually coming, which is really cool. I'm really excited. And yeah, anyway, let's jump into it. The first question for today, again, comes from the last live stream, comes from Diego Varela, who comes from Argentina. And Diego has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a degree in arts and graphics design. And the question is, hey, Oliver, would you know which places or universities are the most proper ones to study and work around the subjects of arts and graphics design? I'm an Italian with a European Union citizenship. Love your channel. Thanks so much for your support in advance. Thanks, first of all, for all the positive feedback. I do appreciate it. It's really cool to hear that the content on the channel is actually giving value for some of you guys. That is the only reason why I'm actually doing this. So it's really cool to hear. Thank you for that. To your question, that's actually a really good question. So there are, if I remember correctly, there are multiple schools in Finland, basically university level schools that teach arts and design, which of course graphic design is a part of arts and design as a bigger, wider field. And however, I would highly recommend that you check out Alta University School of Arts and Design. It's a number one arts university in Finland, and it's actually ranked extremely highly globally. So I think it's actually ranked third in the world in terms of arts and design. So it's a very, very highly regarded school. The students at Alta University Arts and Design have continuously won multiple different arts and design awards in Europe, especially in the design or clothing field of clothing, and what is it called? In fashion specifically. I'm blacked out for a second. In terms of where to actually work or study around this subject, of course, the biggest amount of jobs in this field in Finland are, of course, around the capital region, meaning Helsinki, Espoo, for example, Vantaa, which basically we have the capital region it's a metropolitan area which is combined, which combines multiple different cities. Most of the jobs are there because most of the big international companies are also here. So I would say that would be my advice on this topic. Joss, what's up? Also, welcome to the stream. I would love to get to your question. I will. It will take me just a moment. I will just first go through all the questions that I already have in the form. So again, just to remind everyone, if you want me to answer your questions live, please post your questions into the Google form that is linked in the description box below. But I will get to your question in just a moment. It will take me maybe 10-15 minutes to get to your question, unless you post it into the form. Prateek, also welcome to the stream. Thanks so much for the positive feedback. Hopefully the live stream is actually bringing you some value as well. Moving on, the next question in the form comes from Shilpa Dinakaran, who comes from India, and Shilpa is applying to Alta University to do a PhD, which is really cool, and she's specifically specializing in architecture and urban design. Nice. All right. And Shilpa's comment/question is, "Hi Oliver, kudos for your amazing guidance." You're welcome. My question is about PhD studies in Finland. If my application gets selected or for a doctoral course in a university, do I get a stipend or should I apply separately for scholarships and grants? And then continuing on the question, do all universities provide stipends for doctoral students? That's a great question, and I would love to talk about more of PhD studies in Finland, because a lot of people actually are interested in this topic. So to summarize, only few universities in Finland offer any kind of stipends, scholarships, or grants to their students, and most of those are only for the first year of your research. After that, you have to start financing your research on your own, considering that your research project might, for example, or the entire doctoral studies might take up to 5 years, for example. So usually after the first year, you have to start looking for the funding on your own. And how you do this is there's a lot of third-party independent funds, for example, and non-profit organizations in Finland that actually fund academic research in specific fields. There's usually universities have on their websites, if you, for example, go to Alta University, just Google Alta University PhD grants or scholarships or stipends, you should get the same results. They actually have a website where they list out different kind of third parties that actually have annual stipends/grants that you can apply for. The problem usually here is that many of these third-party organizations or funds, they specifically specialize in certain type of research. So, for example, my brother is actually doing his PhD in biology, and he has been applying for his funding for a few years now, and has received funding as well. And he has had to look for specific organizations that fund research in the natural sciences. So that is something that you have to take into account. So, to summarize, and, too long, didn't listen, no, not all universities grant their PhD students stipends. And even if they do, it's usually only for the first year. And then you have to get funding yourself. However, this is how the system works, and there's plenty of opportunities there. So it's not a problem. You just have to, spend quite a lot of time on pitching your research to different organizations, but it's totally doable. You will get help from your faculty and from other PhD students and for example, your professor. So, don't worry about that. Should be fine. Let's see, we have a couple of other people here coming online. Yusuf Vlogs, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. Eva Ashley, hey, welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here. Guys, once again, just repeating myself now that people are coming in. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer live about studying, living, and working in Finland, there's a Google form linked in the description box below. And if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your question into the Google form. The reason why I do it this way is because the chat gets pretty busy at times during the live streams. And if you post your question into the live chat, it's very easily missed, or I will miss it quite easily. This is why I have the Google form, so that I will have all the questions here in front of me just below the camera, and I will be able to answer everyone's questions in a first come, first served basis. Cool. All right, let's move on. The next question comes from Danush, who comes from Uganda, which is awesome. That's really, really cool. Welcome, Danush, to the stream. And Danush is still in high school and not yet sure whether or not he wants to study in Finland, and not sure about the different schools either, but is interested in doing a bachelor's degree in business. Nice. And the question is, do I need to write Ielts or Stats in order for you to study in Finland, and how much are the living and education costs in Finland? Those are really, really good questions, Danush. These are also quite broad topics, so let me just summarize. I also have videos about each of these questions or topics on my channel already, so if you want to check them out, just go to the channel, and there's a playlist called Do You Want to Study in Finland? Start here. Go through the entire playlist. That should answer all of the questions that you ask here. Anyways, I will answer these quickly. So, do you need to write IELTS or any kind of other language test when you come to study in Finland? Depends on the school. So some schools, when you apply to study business, they require you to do the SATs or GMATs, usually SATs for bachelor studies. And while some universities do require you to also do an additional language proficiency test like IELTS or TOEFL or something else, some don't. So you always have to go and check out the specific university website that you are interested in. Then about the cost of living. So the Finnish Immigration Service, who grants residence permits for international students in Finland, they require you to have at the minimum 560 euros per month on your bank account in order to cover your living costs. However, that 560 euros per month includes your rent, food, transportation, etc. 560 euros is not actually that much, especially if you live in the capital region. I have a video about this topic as well. I actually go through the math in Excel, and I show how much it actually costs living in Finland as a student. And my recommendation is that if you want to live comfortably, and if you, for example, want to travel a bit and have fun, you should have around 800 euros per month to go by. That way you don't have to pinch pinch every single penny when you, for example, go outside with your friends, etc. Then about the educational costs, this depends also on the university as well as the actual degree program that you're applying to. As an example, Alta University, which has a business school, their bachelor's degrees are, I think, 12,000 euros per academic year, but their master's degrees are 15,000 euros per academic year. There are also cheaper universities. The tuition fees per academic year in Finland generally start from 8,000 euros per year, and they go all the way up to 20,000 euros per year, depending again on the school and on the degree program. Again, I have videos about all three topics on the channel. Go check them out. I will go much more into detail in them. Cool. The next question comes from MD Ahad Akram, who comes from Bangladesh, and he is applying to study a master's in IT and computer sciences in the next application period. And the question is, I have my background in textiles, and I have a bachelor's degree in the field. I have also a study gap of 8 years, but job experience in the textile sector. But I want to pursue a master's in IT and computer sciences. Is this possible? So that's a great question, and it's very difficult for me to say this because it always depends on the university that you're applying to. So the individual requirements or minimum criteria for you to apply for a master's degree in Finland depends on the school as well as the degree program that you're applying to. Again, for example, if you apply for a master's in business, the requirements are going to be different than if you apply for a master's in IT or computer sciences. Having said this, usually one of the minimum requirements is that you have to have a bachelor's degree that is in the field or which supports your studies in the master's. And so in this case, my very cautious guess, and this is a gut feeling, not 100% sure, is that your previous degree will not make you eligible to apply for a master's in computer sciences, since the textile industry is not even close to computer sciences, and you need a lot of different courses and skills for a master's in computer sciences in order for you to apply and actually do well there. So most likely no. But you have to check the individual universities that you might be interested in. For example, check out the Alta University master's program in computer sciences. That should give you all the information that you need. The next question comes from Sambita, who comes from India. And Sambita is starting school this semester at the University of, is it Turku or U2 University? Let's see. Let's see, just a moment. I think, yeah, University of Turku, correct. It's abbreviation, cool. So first of all, congratulations on being admitted for a master's in cybersecurity. That is absolutely awesome. And I'm so happy for you. That's a super interesting topic for the future, and definitely going to have interesting career opportunities as the years go by. So the question is, I'm from India, one of the worst hit countries in terms of COVID, and the Finnish visa embassy is closed for indefinite amount of time. That's super unfortunate. I don't even know if I can get a visa and fly to Finland. I talked to admission committees and still not sure if the class program will be online. I just want to hear from you. Is there anything I can do now for getting odds or improving odds into my favor? Yeah, this is a very difficult topic, and of course, my heart goes to everyone in India. The situation is absolutely horrible, and I really hope that the international community jumps to support you guys, because it's unbearable. And for example, the current discussion about waiving the patents on the different vaccinations would help a lot, hopefully in terms of you guys. Of course, if nothing is going to happen super fast, so hopefully the situation gets better there. But again, my thoughts and heart goes out to you guys there. It's absolutely terrible. So to your question, this is a very difficult topic for me to say, because it's not only is this about the actual embassy or the mission in your country. It's also about the Finnish immigration service, because they grant the residence permits. Then it's also about the border control in Finland, because they control the borders and who actually gets in and not. It's also about the Finnish Institution for Health and Welfare, because they basically set out the guidelines based on the decisions made by the Finnish government in terms of immigration now at the time of COVID. And then it's on the other hand, it's about the school and whether or not they will actually have their studies online this semester or the upcoming academic year. So it's very, very difficult for me to say. What I do know is that many universities are slowly moving towards contact teaching, face-to-face teaching, starting next autumn. However, not all classes are going to be held offline. This September, they're going to increase the amount of face-to-face teaching gradually as the situation gets better and better in Finland. Again, it's really difficult to say. What I would do in your case, I would stay in constant contact with the university. I would make sure that you are receiving their updates about the COVID situation. And I would also try to figure out, is there any way for you to get a time at an embassy in another country on top of India, for example, any of the neighboring countries? Is it possible? I have no idea. Just, tossing ideas out of my mind. Yeah, but I'm super sorry about the situation. It's tragic there. Cool. Before I actually jump forward to the next question, I just really quickly want to say hi to everyone who just joined the stream. First of all, we have Arundev S. What's up? Welcome to the stream. We have Ragnar. Welcome to the stream as well. Ragnar Vimotion Monty. Welcome back to the stream. Awesome to have you here again. We have Mohammad Sabur Ahmed. What's up? Welcome back to the stream. We have Yala Nela. Welcome as well. Hamza. We have Faiz, welcome as well. Welcome everyone to the live stream. Awesome to have you here. Just letting everyone know, if you want me to answer your questions live, the way I usually do this during the live streams is that there's actually a link to a Google form in the description box below. And if you want me to answer your questions live, please post your question into the Google form instead of the YouTube chat. The reason for this is that the chat gets quite busy at times, and it's very difficult for me to follow along with the chat. You know, I have the camera here, I have the chat over there, I have all the questions here, and there's a lot of things going on at the same time. So it's really difficult for me to follow along with the chat. So if you post your question into the live chat, it is highly likely that I'm going to miss your question. So instead, please post your question into the Google form, which is in the description box below between two yellow exclamation marks. That way I will have all the questions in front of me here on the computer, and I will be able to answer all of your questions in a first come, first served basis, meaning in the what is it called? I will be able to answer the people who post the questions fastest. I will be answering them first, and then I will continue from there onwards. So just letting everyone know, please post your questions into the Google form there down below. However, I will jump back to Joss because she posted her question right at the beginning of the stream, and the question is it the government now issuing work and student visas? I'm wondering because of coronavirus, and a lot of countries are not doing it. Yeah, so the Finnish government / the Finnish immigration service is indeed issuing student visas or student resident permits. However, they're completely clogged right now, and it's taking quite a while for them to process anything. In addition, you have to take into account that the Finnish immigration service is just one part of the machine. In addition to the Finnish immigration service, we have the Finnish Institution of Health and Welfare, who, again, as I mentioned just now, they basically set the rules. They set the recommendations based on the current situation with COVID and according to the regulations set by the Finnish government. Then the actual immigration is overlooked by the Finnish border patrol. So there's a lot of moving parts here. But yes, as a short answer, yes, the government is issuing visas. However, it's taking quite a while to process them. Cool. All right, let's move onwards. And once again, just reminding everyone, if you want me to answer your question live, please post your question into the Google form, which I have a link for in the description box below. Cool. The next question comes from Levon, who is from Finland and is regular on the live streams, which is awesome. Welcome back. Tervetuloa takaisin. And Levon is still in high school and is applying for a bachelor's at Alta University in engineering and data sciences. Excuse me. And the question is, do you think it would be a good idea to extend my bachelor studies to 4 years instead of 3, if that's possible? Since I've heard that the engineering programs are especially demanding. I'm a really social person, and I want to get the most out of my student life at Alta as a student. Yeah, this is actually a really good question. And Levon, what I would recommend you to do is to try to stick to the 3 years, because I'm not sure if you have heard, but you can actually get, as a Finnish national, you can actually get a reimbursement of your student loans if you actually graduate on time. So that's why I recommend that you try to stick to the 3 years. However, I do get where you're coming from, and I definitely recommend that you try to do as many student activities and partake in different student organizations as possible. It's a lot of fun, and it's part of the university experience in Finland, as you most likely already know. However, that in itself will not necessarily force you to, postpone your graduation by a full year. For example, half a year is fine, completely fine. I graduated like 4 years late, but that's just me. I used to work. I worked full time for 3 years, which postponed my studies. I actually had a really bad burnout after my first year, which postponed my graduation by half a year. And I would personally recommend try to stick to the normal time. However, there's nothing wrong with expanding just a bit. Especially as a Finnish national, you're not in a hurry because you don't have to pay tuition fees. So, yeah. The next question is also from Levon, and the question is: do you get any financial support from the government as a Finnish citizen for student housing? Yes, you do. You get asumistuki, so it's a student grant for housing. And again, to everyone who is not a Finnish citizen, this does not apply to you. So Levon, go to Kela website and just look for Kela opiskelija opintotuki. And you can see there's basically the opintotuki or student grants for Finnish nationals. They're divided into 3 different pieces. So you have the student loan, which is the biggest part, which is super cheap, and I would recommend that you withdraw every single penny of the student loan that you can. Not a financial advisor, but it's super cheap. Ask your parents. Second part is a student grant or opintotuki, but it's actually quite a small piece. And then there's a third part, which is about housing support, asumistuki. So all of these together, I think it's 800-900 euros a month or something like that. No, not that much. Something like that, yeah. So it's quite a lot of money. So check out Kela's website on that. They actually have a really good website for students there that they released a while ago. Should explain everything in detail. Mustakin, welcome to the stream. What's up? Awesome to have you here as well. I'm actually doing quite well. Thank you very much for asking. Hopefully you're doing fine as well. By the way, hopefully everyone is safe and sound and staying healthy during these incredibly trying times. It's quite awful what is happening around the world. Anyways, let's move forward to the next question in the form, which comes from Juan Vasquez. And Juan is from Mexico and starting school this semester at the University of Oulu, doing a master's in computer sciences and engineering / embedded systems. Awesome. That is really, really cool. And the question is it possible to pay the student union and FSHS, which is basically the Finnish student health care service? Is it possible to pay the student union and FSHS fee once I've arrived in Finland before the orientation week? No, it's not. So that's actually a good question. So you need to pay the student union fee at the same time as you register as an active student in the university. This is at least how I remember it goes. The FSHS fee, which is a new fee, it used to be a part of the student union fee, so we just paid it in one bulk. Now it's 2 separate payments. That I think there's a very specific and very, very strict deadline for that. So please check it out. I think it's on Kela website. I can actually pull it out for you. Let me just check super quickly. So yeah, just Google Kela FSHS fee, and then we can see here, we come to the website of the Finnish Social Insurance Institution, Kela, as it's more commonly referred to, and blah, blah, blah. Let's see. How to pay. For the autumn term, the due date is 30th September, provided you have registered as an attending student by then. And again, you have to pay the student union fee as you register as an attending student. So you have to take care of that first and then pay the FSHS payment before these deadlines. Again, do remember that these might change every single year or year to year. So make sure to check them from Kela's website. Again, just Google Kela FSHS fee. And once again, for everyone who is not aware of what I'm talking about here or what the FSHS fee is, it's basically the fee that you pay in order for you to be able to use the Finnish student healthcare services, which are awesome. They're extremely cheap and high quality, and it's basically the best way for you to, take care of your health while you are in Finland as a student. As a disclaimer, they're not hospitals, they're healthcare service providers. So for example, if you get into an accident, knock on the wood, hopefully that doesn't happen, you're not brought into an FSHS service point because they're not emergency rooms. In those cases, you would be served in a public public hospital, basically. So just, putting that out there. All right, let's see. Then the next question comes from Michael Nadirats, which is awesome to have you here once again. Welcome back. Michael comes from Georgia and starting school this semester at the Hanken School of Economics, doing a master's in accounting and finance. Awesome, nice. And then the question is, hey Oliver, how are you? I'm doing awesome. Hopefully you're doing good as well. Firstly, I would like to say that I finally decided that I'm coming to Helsinki. Awesome, nice. Welcome to Helsinki. It's awesome to get you here. The situation in Finland is getting better every single day. We're actually on track with our vaccinations, and actually we're opening the country back up again, which is awesome. And plus the summer is coming, so it's even better. We get to actually go outside and do stuff. Nice. Anyway, so my question is about HOAS, and when filling the application, what will you recommend should I choose as the areas? When filling the application, what will you recommend? Should I choose areas which are more suitable for me, or just, live it? Also, if I get a room very far from the city center, is transportation still convenient, or does it take a very long time? Great question. So what the question is basically about from Michael, for every one of you, this is relevant for every single one of you who are coming to Finland to study, is about student apartments. HOAS, or the student, for Christ's sake, let's see, oh for God, Christ's sake, I'm completely blacking out. The Foundation for Student Housing in the Helsinki region, HOAS, is one of the actual collaborators on the channel. They're actually one of my I need to get more sleep. They have been a long-time supporter of the channel. HOAS is the biggest provider of student housing in the Helsinki region. Hashtag this is not sponsored by them, just letting you know. So the question here is, when you apply for a student apartment, should you try to choose the different areas where you want to live in, or should you just, apply for student apartments in general? The answer here is just apply it to, for everything that is available, and please do not be picky about it. The reason why is that there are not enough student apartments for everyone in Finland, in any of the Finnish university cities. And this means that the more picky you are, the more likely it is that you will not be, offered an apartment at all. Which means that if you want to, select just one specific building in one specific area of the city, which is really cool looking, most likely you will never be offered an apartment because, for example, it might be that they don't have any apartments available at all in that building. So apply for everything, and then when you are offered an apartment, you have to accept it no matter where it is, because if you deny or decline the offer of a student apartment that you're given, the student apartment provider will most likely not offer you another apartment during the same academic year. So you might have to wait for a year before you're offered an other apartment from, student apartment providers. And that would mean that you would have to actually rent from the private market, which can be up to double the price. So just please don't be picky about this. And then to the second part of the question, which was basically also if I get a room very far, so I use here very far in air quotations because you are applying for apartments in the Helsinki region. The Helsinki capital region, even though it looks quite big on a map, for example, Google Map, it's actually very concise or condensed in a sense. It's a very small area, geographical area in a sense, and the public transportation in Helsinki or the capital region works really, really, really well. So even if you were to be offered an apartment a bit further from away from the center, absolutely accepted. You're going to be just fine. And usually HOAS tries to prioritize people to apartments that are closest to their schools. So that, for example, if someone studies at Alta University, they're going to be usually offered places from specific school apartments or buildings that are closer compared to if you, for example, study at the University of Helsinki Viikki campus, which is way to the other direction. They are usually offered different apartments. So great question. Accept whatever you get. You will still be able to move around with public transportation. Cool. The next question, and before I actually jump into the next question, Bavia, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here once again. Hopefully you're doing fine. And as always, guys, if you have any questions, as a reminder for everyone, please, if you have any questions about living, studying, and working in Finland, please post your question into the Google form that I have linked in the description box below. And actually, I will also just link it into the chat. Just a moment. There you go. Use that link if you want to ask any questions, and this will make it much easier for me to answer your questions in a first come, first serve basis. Awesome. The next question comes again from Levon, and the question is, do you know any good data sources for data about diploma engineering career development / salaries, etc.? Since there is a weird difference between diploma engineers, basically masters of engineering from university level studies, and engineers from universities of applied sciences. Yeah, so basically what we're talking about here is basically just two different type of graduates. So you can do a degree in engineering at either university level, either as bachelor's or master's, or you can do a degree in engineering at a university of applied sciences at both bachelor's and master's. However, these are two completely different things. The universities of applied sciences are more practical in their teaching methods, while the teaching at a university it's more academic and more based on academic research and theoretical, sciences. So when you graduate as a master's in engineering from a university, you are called a diploma engineer or diplomi-insinööri in Finnish. You get a really funny looking hat, and everything is cool. So yeah, that's a really good question, and let me show you. I can actually show you really quickly. And Levon, let me tell you, I will show you this in English, but if you just go to the same website and turn the page into Finnish, you will see the same information there. So go to Insinööriliitto, which is the engineering's union in Finland, which is basically the organization which functions as the advocate for engineering graduates in Finland. And they have a page called Students' Salary Matters, and they actually have a annual student salary recommendation table that they use based on market research, where they actually look into different salary levels and they make a salary recommendation for graduates and then for students separately. And these are usually dependent on how far you are in your studies. So for example, if you have less than 60 credits of studies done, basically meaning you have done less than a year of studies, your recommended monthly salary is around this range. And then it increases as you go towards graduation, and then after you graduate, it is higher. Please take into account that these are only recommendations set by the union, and these are not always given by the companies. And if you ask for these, it's a good benchmark for example, for job interviews. However, be prepared for not getting paid the same sum, even if you are already graduated or a graduate. I think, however, this is the best source for data on different salaries for engineers specifically. However, the other website that I would also look into would be Meet Frank, which is a recruitment app in Finland. They actually have a mobile app, which I really recommend that you guys download, #notsponsored. And on their website, go to Insights. This is a really cool thing that they don't have on their app yet. And if you go to Insights, and this applies to multiple different fields, so this is relevant for every single one of you guys live currently. So if you go to the page Insights, and you come to these drop-down menus. You can actually choose the different countries that they are operating in, and then different specialities. So, for example, if you are working in technology as, for example, a project in project management, no, never mind. Here, engineering. Choose engineering, and you will not get anything because the insights are not there yet. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Software engineering. All right, here we go. So this is what you would normally get, and this is what the company is trying to get for all different specialities. So you basically get historical gross salaries in the field, offered plus expected, which is really, really cool to see the difference. Offered versus expected gross salaries and their development over time. How many people are actually looking for a job? How many of them are active job seekers? How many companies are there? What's the overall job hunting situation in this field? For example, in the field of engineering, it's actually quite easy to find a job at this point. Of course, these are all statistics, so it's not always the same for everyone. Just keep this in mind. So this is a great website. And again, for example, this works for design as well. We had a couple of designers here. So for example, for designers, it's a bit more difficult, although not that difficult to find a job at this moment in time. So meet Frank, really great website, recommended for everyone. Rishi, what's up? Welcome, and thank you very much for the super sticker. I don't have my glasses anywhere. Actually, never mind. Hold on. All right. Thank you very much for the super sticker, and I hope that this is fine. I actually bought myself, these are computer glasses. I actually had to buy these for myself because I work with computers all day. So I actually had to get these to, save my eyes a bit more. These actually block the blue light, which is really, really cool. Thank you for the super sticker. Appreciated as always. Cool. Then the next question comes from Arun Dev, who comes from India and is starting school this semester. Learning machine learning and deep learning. Awesome. And the question is, what are the opportunities for machine learning / deep learning part-time jobs during studies? Really difficult question for me to answer because it's a very specific niche of a field. However, as a general rule of thumb, machine learning, deep learning, big data, AI, all of these kind of fields are in super high demand, and there are actually not that many people who actually know how to do these properly. So I'm not saying that it's going to be easy for you to find a job. However, the problem might actually be that it's quite difficult to find the companies who actually hire these people because they're not that. This is not such a common field in Finland yet. However, the moment that you actually find these companies, you're most likely going to be in a very good position because there's not that many people here in these fields. So part-time jobs, hard to say. However, the overall career prospects for anyone studying these topics, very good indeed in Finland. Cool. There's some funny shenanigans happening in the chat. I'm just trying to check out what's happening. How can I apply for the Housing and Credit Center University? No. What's ELL's LOL? Eva Ashley asking. Bobby saying, hey, you guys, LOL. I typed it wrong. Oopsies. It's cool, man. Ielts, super fine. Hello. Yeah, Ielts. So Ielts, basically a standardized language proficiency test that many universities ask you to do before when you apply. So that's the short answer there. The next question comes from Francesco Stagni, who comes from Italy, and Francesco is applying to study a master's in the environmental sciences, nice, at the Kuopio University in the next application period. Awesome. The question is, as I'm applying for an Erasmus Plus program, what is the cost of living in this part of the country? Is this region remarkable for any features or stuff that a student should be interested in? So Kuopio is actually a really, really nice city. My part of my family actually come from Kuopio. It's not a massively large city, but it's a very beautiful city nonetheless. And actually my girlfriend's family also come from Kuopio as well. And Kuopio has a very, very, very good university, and the local student culture there, or the student community and culture that they have, is really, really cool. So I think that you're going to have an excellent experience as an Erasmus student, especially because usually when you come to do your Erasmus, you usually don't fully just 100% focus on your studies. That's what I have at least heard. A lot of people focus a lot on the student experience, and it's really, really cool in Kuopio. It's overall really really beautiful city. So if you however, if you want to learn how much it costs to live in Kuopio as an international student, there's a video that I have on the channel called "How much does it cost to live in Finland as an international student?" I think. If you go and look it up, and I actually go through the different costs in Excel, so one by one, and I actually get a final number. You can basically take the same number. However, you can at minimum half the cost of living, because the rental apartments in Kuopio are way cheaper than in Helsinki. So I think that's a good estimate for you to go by. So the same numbers, except the living costs are maybe half, especially if you get a room in a shared apartment. So then it's going to be very cheap. Cool. Let's see, super quickly in the chat. Mehdi saying, can you answer my question, please, Oliver? Mehdi, I will get to your question if it's in the form as soon as I can. I'm going through these one by one in the order that they came in. There's currently a bunch of questions in the form, so it's going to take a while for me to get to everyone's questions. I would please ask everyone to be a bit patient. It's always going to take a time. This is why I always ask everyone to be on time in the streams. I stream every single week, with a couple of exceptions. Last week, I stream every single week at 5:30 p.m. Eastern European time. And if you want me to answer your question quickly, I really recommend that you post your question into the form early. So that's the best way for you to actually get an answer faster. I'm going through the questions as they're coming in, so just be patient. Eric, what's up? Welcome to the stream. No worries, you're not actually that much late. Or if you have any questions, as always, post them into the form. I'm sure that I will be able to get to yours as well by the time the stream has ended. All right, the next question comes from Eva, who comes from Russia, and Eva is already starting school this semester. Awesome. And doing a high school diploma, cool, in graphics design. And the question is, I'm applying for a residence permit and it says I have to have a bank account in Finland, but I don't know how to create one. Does it actually say that you have to have a bank account in Finland? I don't think you need to have a bank account in Finland. Eva, if you could please let me know the page where you got this information, for example, in the chat, ping me. So actually, have the name of the channel, ping me so that I can actually see you in the chat. And don't try to share the link. You cannot actually share links in the chat, but just let me know, is it from the Finnish Immigration Service where you actually got this information from? Because my understanding is that you don't need to have a Finnish bank account when you actually move here. One of the reasons why I'm saying this and why I'm really skeptical is because it's very difficult for you to even open a bank account before you have moved into Finland, because Finnish banks will most likely not even allow you to open a account with them before you actually move here. They have a right to decline clients, and especially with the banking crisis of 2008, they are heavily restricted and regulated, and they actually are not able to open accounts for everyone, even if they're not in Finland physically. So my guess is what you mean is that you need to have enough money on your bank account before you're applying for a residence permit. That bank account, if I'm correct in assuming that there was a mistake here, that bank account where you have the money, which is usually 560 euros per month for living costs, it doesn't have to be in a Finnish bank account. It has to be on a bank account that is only controlled by you. So it has to be only for you. So you cannot have, for example, a spouse or a friend or a mother controlling the account. It has to be in your control. So that's the what I would say. Yeah, Bobby is saying here, that's not true. The bank account is needed for native countries only. I think I got what Pavia said here right. So basically, you don't need to have a Finnish bank account. Again, that's not even possible for most cases before you move into Finland. So just keep this in mind. Pavia, actually, do you mean the same thing that I just said? Let me know in the chat, just so that there's no confusion here in your and my comments. Anyway, the next question comes from Faiz from Indonesia, and Faiz is starting school this semester, doing a master's in computer sciences at Alta University. Awesome. Welcome to Alta. You're going to have so much fun. And the question is, can you share something about insurances? I mean, obviously there's a healthcare insurance that was mandatory by Immigration Service, but I heard that there are things like property insurance, etc. So should I get that too? How much does it cost? Any tips? Yeah, actually, that's a really good question. I have not made a dedicated video about insurances. However, I did speak about this topic briefly in my video where I spoke about where I actually calculated the cost in Excel of living in Finland as an international student. And in that video, I actually called multiple insurance companies specifically about home insurances. I will explain them a bit more in just a second. I tried to ask for benchmark prices for them for the video, and almost every single one of them declined to give me any kind of a number. The reason why this is that the cost of insurance, for example, your home insurance, depends on not only on the building, it depends on the location, it depends on your personal background as well as your personal finances. So there's a lot of stuff happening here, so they're not allowed to give you an estimate without you first giving them your personal information so that they can actually give you a quota. However, in that video, I did get a rough estimate from one company. I will not disclose which one of them. And that was the customer service agent told me that that's a good estimate, plus or minus tens of euros in either direction, depending on your personal background and where you live. So, yeah, all right. So Bobby is saying, yes, correct. You need to have an account in your native country, not in Finland. That's all right, cool. That's right. So I was correct. Awesome. So yeah, so back to the question from Faiz. So yeah, so you, in addition to the health insurance that you need to take if you are not a European Union citizen, and if you don't have a European insurance card, health insurance card. In addition to that, I recommend that everyone takes a home insurance when you come into Finland. They're not that expensive. They're like around, again, an estimate at 100 euros per year, so really not much. And they cover not only damages to your home, for example, in case that you have water damage. Those can be hundreds of thousands of euros that you have to pay the apartment provider. If you, for example, if the classic example, if you pass out in the shower, this has happened to people. Seriously, this is a real life case. If you pass out after a party in your shower and you clog the drain, and water actually gets in your apartment and that causes a water damage, that can be hundreds of thousands of euros depending on how bad the damage is. Is it just contained to your apartment, multiple apartments, the staircase, etc.? And this is where a home insurance comes in. They're not going to cover these kind of costs if you're, causing damage because of your stupidity, basically. However, if there's an accident, if there's a fire, if anything like this, those will cover your costs or damages to a certain extent. In addition, those also cover theft. So if you, for example, a lot of student apartment buildings have these cages in the basement where you can actually store your personal belongings that you don't want in your apartment. For example, winter clothes during the summer. And if someone breaks into your cage or cage storage and they steal something from there, the home insurance will also cover that as well. Some home insurances also cover damages happening to you or your property outside of your home within a certain range of your home. So for example, if you drop your phone and your screen cracks at school, and that's within a certain kilometer range, your home insurance might actually cover that as well. So this is why you should definitely get a home insurance. And the cool thing is that there are a lot of really cool companies that actually offer student discounts on home insurances. So they're really, really affordable. So you should definitely not pinch with the price in terms of home insurances. So there. Then next question comes from Marvin Martinez, who comes from Bolivia. Welcome back to the stream. And Marvin is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in physics, astronomy specifically, which is awesome, at the University of Helsinki or Tampere. Nice. And the question is, I seek to become an astronomer. The universities that offer this career path, bachelor's in physics and master's in astronomy, are the University of Helsinki, both bachelor's and master's, and the University of Turku, which only has a master's. However, the University of Helsinki doesn't offer scholarships for bachelor's degrees. I'm considering to apply to physics at Tampere, as it offers scholarships and would enable me to do a master's in astronomy, but it's a 3+2 year degree and there isn't master's in astronomy. If I were to apply to Tampere and be accepted, should I do the 5 years or just a bachelor's and then apply to either Helsinki or Turku for a master's? Good question. This has actually been something that we have been talking about in the Discord server. And, quick drink. And actually, before I jump into the question, answer the question, super quickly, just wanted to let everyone know, since there's a lot of people online right now, if you have not yet joined our Discord server, I highly recommend that you consider joining using the link that I just posted in the chat. The idea of the server is basically to build a community of people interested in studying, living, and working in Finland. And in the server, we have a bit more personal dialogue about different topics around these topics. Everyone answers their questions, for example, about applications and admission processes. And I post updates about upcoming videos and live streams in the server. So if you, for example, want to be the first one posting your question in the form in the next live stream, join the server and you will be notified when I go live. So so this is a really good question. So the thing here is, if you apply to, for example, say the University of Tampere, which has a scholarship for the bachelor's program, and then you want to apply for a master's at the University of Helsinki, you have to specifically apply to the master's program at the University of Helsinki, meaning that you have to apply separately, meaning that you apply to the university in January, and then you have to wait for the results all the way until early June at latest, and then you will start your studies in Helsinki in September. So basically, you have to go through the same application process again. While if you do the 5 years 3+2 at Tampere, you don't have to go through the application process again for the masters. Rather, you're already automatically admitted to do the masters when you are admitted to do a bachelor's. So it's much easier for you to move to the masters if you study at Tampere University compared to if you want to separately apply to the University of Helsinki. Having said this, there's nothing stopping you from doing this. And even if you want to apply to the University of Helsinki, nothing is stopping you from continuing your studies at Tampere while waiting for the results from the University of Helsinki. So since the application process is not actually that heavy, there's no, big exams that you have to do. It's mostly based on your academic excellence, basically, or your academic record from your bachelor's when you apply to a master's in Helsinki. Confusing. Yeah. You basically apply in January, and then you can just keep on doing your courses at Tampere. And if you're not admitted to Helsinki, that's fine. Then you just continue for a master's in Tampere, and that's fine. And you can apply to Helsinki multiple times if you want to, if the program is something that you really want to do. However, of course, since the scholarships are available at Tampere, I highly recommend that you check them out because it is a big financial support. And of course, you have to look at your personal finances in this case as well. But yeah, definitely. I would apply. There's nothing stopping you there. But of course, you have to take into account that the University of Helsinki master's programs are heavily competitive. So, if you want to get to Helsinki to do your master's, I would really, really heavily focus on your studies during your bachelor's, trying to get as high of a GPA as possible. And for example, try to intern at the university as, for example, course assistant. That would be really helpful, most likely. Hopefully that answered your question. Cool. All right. The next question in the forum comes from Michael. Again, Michael Nadirats, again, who comes from Georgia, starting school this semester at the Hanken School of Economics, doing a master's in accounting and audit. And the question is, as for the residence permits, will my living grants be considered as my financial assets? And for the filling of the application, can I register with my home country's electronic ID? Thus, I will not be obliged to verify my identity in Finnish embassy or consulate. I don't think so. All right. So to the second question, please do your own research. I'm sorry, I don't have the correct answer here. My understanding is that the answer here is no, but please do your own due diligence here. My understanding is that it is going to require you to visit the Finnish embassy or consulate anyways. The one reason being that you need to have your biometrics scanned as well, I think, depending on the visit. Then about the financial assets, yes, if you get a grant, specifically a living grant or living cost grant, yes, that is going to be calculated into your living assets or financial assets. And actually, the Finnish Immigration Service on their website, where they talk about this, I will show you right here. So on the Finnish Immigration Services website, where they talk about income requirements for students, so basically how much money do you need to have on your bank account in order to get a residence permit in Finland, it actually says here that, excuse me, if the educational institution provides you with a free accommodation, you need to have at least 280 euros per month. So that's around half of what you would normally need to have, 560 euros. If the educational institution provides you with free accommodation and free meals, you need to have at least 195 euros per month at your disposal. It doesn't talk about, these do not talk about the actual, any kind of third-party grants. However, my understanding is that they do count towards your financial assets. You just need to be able to prove them to the Finnish Immigration Service. I have no idea how. You most likely, I'm sure that you have some kind of documents about the grant. And how much is it, who is providing it to you, when are they going to pay it to your account, etc. So just provide those to the Finnish Immigration Service and you should be golden. Alicia, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Super quickly, I have to get a drink. Meanwhile, everyone, if you're getting value out of the stream currently, I would really appreciate if you could gently tap the like button below the video. We're currently at 30 likes and it would be awesome to get to 40 likes before we end the stream. I think our the highest number of likes that we have actually gotten for a live stream during the live stream itself is 60 or so. So that would be highly appreciated. Quick drink. Disclaimer, this is not beer, it's juice. It's just the biggest, glass or pint that I have at the office. I don't want to have to go and get more drinks during the live stream, so no alcohol. We have very strict marketing laws in Finland in when it comes to these kind of things. Trending BGMS. Please be patient. If you have posted your question into the Google form, again, that I have in the description box below, I will get to your question in a while. Do note that I'm answering the questions in the order that they came in. So it's gonna take a while for me to get to your question. So please be patient. If you asked your question in the live chat, please note that I'm most likely going to miss your question because the chat gets really, really busy at times. And that is why I have the Google form linked in the description box below. And actually, in just a second, I will also have it in the chat as well. There you go. If you have a question, please ask it in the Google form. That way I will be able to answer everyone's question in a first come, first serve basis. And I will have all the questions here in front of me on the computer. Scarlett, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Saying hola, Oliver, hola, Scarlett. What's up? Of course, I will like the stream. Awesome. That is highly appreciated. Eva Ashley saying, sorry, I didn't just gently tap it, I smashed it. Fist bump for you for that. Thank you very much. That is highly appreciated. Trending saying that I filled 3 times already. Then I will get to your question. Don't worry, it's in the queue. I already have a bunch of questions here, so don't worry about it. I will get to it. Just be patient. For example, just put on headphones and listen to the stream while you're waiting for your question. I will get to your name and to your question in just a while. Don't worry about it. I will try to get it to every single question posted during this live stream. Talking of which, the next question comes also from Michael and from Georgia. And the question is, as for the residence permits, I'm sorry, I actually got that. Never mind. All right, the next question comes from Sabur from Pakistan, and Sabur is a regular on the channel, which I highly appreciate. Welcome back. And Sabur is starting school this semester, doing a master's in chemistry, which is really, really awesome. And the question is, hi, Mr. Oliver, really like your content, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person at Alta University. I look forward to that as well, as long as we get rid of the COVID situation by the start of the semester. By the way, just letting everyone know in the stream, please just call me Oliver. There's no need to call me sir, Mr. or anything else. In Finland, we like to keep things quite informal. And actually, in Finland, we like to just call each other with our first names, even if the other person is a professor or a business leader, doesn't matter. We always address each other with our first names. And actually, a fun fact, in the Finnish language, we don't even have a word for sir or ma'am. It's just not a part of our culture. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much for being polite, but there is no need. Just use my first name. That's fine. Alicia saying, I'm painting a blue forest while listening. So wait, you're basically just you're using me as Bob Ross, basically. I'll take that. That's cool. All right. Cool. That's totally fine for me to get assimilated with. Bob Ross is awesome. All right. Anyways, the question from Sabur is, what are the online payment methods in Finland other than credit cards? As I don't hold a credit card, as I will be paying the AYY student membership fee from my home country. So that's a great question. You can use multiple different methods. First of all, there's a direct bank transfer. So in Finland, we usually do not, if we do a bank transfer, we don't usually use any kind of a middleman, say, for example, Western Union. We usually don't, we almost never use Western Union, only for very specific reasons. So a direct bank transfer, that's the #1 way to pay the AYY student membership. Credit cards is one. A local debit card is one way to do it as well. However, in your case, now that you're still in Pakistan, I would say that a direct bank transfer is the best way for you to do this. But then when you come to Finland, there's so many different ways to pay. The most common one nowadays is actually, in addition to a direct bank transfer, there we have multiple different mobile apps that you can use to transfer money, not only to different people, but for different companies, etc. And there's so many different ways to do it. I can't even list them all. So yeah. There's that, but a direct bank transfer in your case would be the best. Bobby Abafna saying, hey, I'm coding LOL. And trending BGMS is saying, just chilling, dude. And Bobby is also saying, Oliver is so fun to listen to along with. Highly appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if I'm all over the place, a bit, I haven't slept. I didn't actually sleep that well last night, so I might be, all over the place. Anyways, the next question comes from Bharat Kumar, who comes from India, and Bharat is applying to the University of Helsinki or the University of Eastern Finland to do a master's in architecture. Nice. And the question is, what is the cost of study in Finland? Great question. There's multiple different ways to answer this, so let's break this into pieces. So first of all, we have the cost of tuition fees. So since you come from India, you come from outside the European Union, meaning that you have to pay tuition fees when you study in a Finnish university. The tuition fees are basically paid per academic year, so once a year before the start of the academic year. And the Cost of tuition is dependent on the university and the different programs that you apply for. So for example, in your case, if you want to study at the University of Helsinki, actually, never mind. You actually cannot study architecture at the University of Helsinki. But for example, Alta University has a school of architecture, and their master's programs are 15,000 euros per year on a master's level. However, there are other schools as well, and they are cheaper. So the tuition fees range from, I think it's 6,000 or 8,000 euros per year to around 20,000 euros per year, depending on the school and the program. Then the second part is the cost of living in Finland as a student. Again, the Finnish Immigration Service requires you to have at minimum 560 euros per month on your bank account when you apply for a residence permit per month that you're going to live here. So for example, if you apply for a 1-year residence permit and then you just renew it after a year, you have to have at least 6,720 euros on your bank account already before you apply for a residence permit. However, 560 euros per month for living costs is actually not that much if you live in the capital region, meaning the Helsinki metropolitan area, basically. Or Helsinki is the capital, but there's multiple cities in the capital region. So my recommendation is that if you want to live comfortably in a nice student apartment, have a bit of extra money for travel and, having fun, you should aim for around 800 euros per month. And that is going to be just, more than enough for you. And you will be able to travel quite a lot during your studies. So there. So tuition fees plus the cost of living, those are the two things that you need to take into account. All right, the next question comes from Hamza, and then I'm going to mispronounce your last name. I do apologize. Hamza Javed. Is it Javed, Javed, or Javed with a J? Hamza Javed. Is it no? I think I might be incorrect here. Hamza Javed. That might be more correct. Let me know in the chat if it's close enough. Anyway, Hamza comes from Pakistan and has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland. However, is interested in a master's program in schools that offer technology programs. There are plenty of schools that do that. And specifically in computer sciences or business analytics or that's MIS. I'm not sure what that is. MIS is Management Information Systems. Cool. All right. The question is, I am an economics major. Is it possible for me to gain admission to a technology master's in Finland? Yeah, that's a good question. Depends on the school. So different schools have different requirements for their master's programs. However, the general rule of thumb is that if you want to change your field, for example, in your case, from economics to computer sciences, you have to have at least a minor program already done in computer sciences if you want to be eligible to apply for a master's program. So if you have a full economics background and you have no computer sciences previously done in school, you are not going to be eligible to apply for a computer sciences master's, simply because you need quite a lot of background information and specific skill sets already before you can apply for a master's in that program. And if you have, if you, for example, if you have majored in economics or accounting or finance, that is not going to be make you eligible to study computer sciences, and you will not survive in the master's program because you're basically missing 3 years of knowledge that the other students have. So check the different universities. For example, Alta University has a bunch of really good computer science master's programs. Check those programs and go to specifically the application requirements and the minimum application criteria and check out what kind of things do they want from you before you apply. So that's my recommendation for everyone. All right, the next question comes from Faiz from Indonesia. And again, Faiz is applying for, starting school this semester at Alta, doing a master's in computer sciences. And the question is, this may sound weird, but any recommendations for non-formal materials for learning Finnish? Like a good TV show, I'm watching Japanese anime and actress interviews to train my Japanese. Awesome. I knew Latin for the first time from, I knew Latin, so the old language Latin, for the first time from a Netflix show, or people, interviewing channels, if you know, like Asian Boss, for example. So I'm not expecting a structured teaching, just ways to increase my exposure to Finnish language. Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So what I would recommend you to do is go to this website called Yle Arkisto, excuse me, Yle Elävä Arkisto, and specifically to their, actually, when you Google Yle Arkisto, Yle is the Finnish national broadcasting company, and Arkisto is their archive. So the broadcasting company's archive. And go to TV-ohjelmat, which is TV programs. They actually have a bunch of free TV programs that you can watch online in Finnish, which is really cool. There's so many different programs that you can actually watch. What should I recommend here? That's a really difficult question. Let's see. That's a very good question. I actually don't watch Finnish TV that much anymore, actually in years, because I don't think Finnish TV is that good. But yeah, well, maybe one way for you to do it is to start actually with the news broadcasts themselves, because of course that's in formal Finnish, and it's pretty simple language, and you can guess a lot of stuff from the context. So you can see. I think it's videos, and then there you go. All right, so there. Ohjelmat, which is programs, and then uutiset, which is news. And then from here, you can actually see the latest news broadcasts from Yle, which is again the national broadcasting company. So I would recommend actually watching them, because you can actually get a lot of context from the news, and of course you can see the same things that are happening around the world. And I think that this would be a really good way for you to start, because the broadcasters speak really slowly and in a very clear language, in a very formal Finnish language as well. And I think this would be a really good way for you to try. I don't unfortunately have that good recommendations for TV programs per se, because I haven't watched Finnish TV in years. I usually only just watch stuff on Netflix. So yeah, anyway, that's totally a really good question, actually, by the way. Kudos. Really, really cool question. The next one, and Alicia, I will get to your question in just a second, if you can hold for a moment. The next question from the forum comes from Ragnar. So I'm sorry, Ragarnis. Ragarn. Is it Ragarn, the very rough R, or like an English R, Ragarn, or Ragarn? Anyways, Ragarn comes from Ukraine, and is applying to do a master's in management at the Tampere University next year. And the question is, hi, greetings of the day. Hi, boss, greetings of the day. If I catch the Finnish language B2 level, what possibilities will I have to getting a job after graduating from a business program? Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question. So what I can say here is that you definitely don't need to speak Finnish in order to get a job in business in Finland. There are so many job opportunities for international students and graduates in business in Finland. Not only because of course there are so many multinational companies working in Finland, where you don't necessarily need to speak a word of Finnish. Especially, in your case, that would be management consulting. For example, that could be, finance, that could be accounting, whatever. Management consulting would be the most common case in your case. However, of course, if you learn Finnish to a B2 level, that is going to help you a lot with different jobs because that opens up a lot of different opportunities. Of course, you have to consider that that is not even close to being native level. So there's going to still be restrictions on how much you can actually use your Finnish language in work, in a work context, but it's definitely going to be a massive benefit, if not for getting more opportunities, then at least for impressing recruiters. Because if you are able to, speak Finnish in a job interview in Finland as an international graduate, that is going to impress your interviewer no matter what. So definitely going to give you better opportunities. Definitely going to increase your, career prospects. It's not mandatory or needed necessarily, but you're still going to have a lot of job opportunities regardless. So don't worry about it. All right, super quickly jump to Alicia's question in the chat. Alicia saying, "Hey Oliver, my parents wanted me to pick bio and chemistry for university. When you said you regret choosing your major just because it was popular, I decided to choose my own path, philosophy." That's cool. All right. And Alicia saying to Sikrat, "Well, I'm only 16, but to live in either Finland or the Netherlands is my dream." Yeah, Netherlands is also a really cool country. I've been there multiple times, once per language for a language course, and then, visiting multiple times. It's a lovely place as well. Really, really awesome society. But yeah, that's Alicia. That's actually super cool. And of course, I don't want you to make your parents panicking about anything. But for example, my sister's husband actually studies theoretical philosophy. So at the University of Helsinki, and so that's really cool. I actually have a friend who is studying what is it called? I have a couple of friends also studying philosophy, not theoretical philosophy, but I think practical philosophy. And it's super, super interesting. It's, of course, a bit all over the place. But there are, for example, a couple of really famous Finnish philosophers. If you, for example, want to learn Finnish while also looking into philosophical topics, I really recommend that you check out Esa Saarinen, who is a philosopher and also an ex lecturer at Alta University. He doesn't lecture anymore. He actually held his last course just this spring, and his courses are extremely popular. He's the most famous philosopher in Finland and is extremely popular, and his classes are always full, and people actually join live to his classes as well. Not just students, but business leaders from big corporations. So many different kind of people listening to his lectures. So philosophy, if you're interested in learning philosophical topics while learning Finnish, I really recommend starting to listen Esa Saarinen lectures. I'm not sure if you can actually auto-translate these with captions. Let's see. No, yeah, actually you can. So this is really cool. So you can actually auto caption this in English. So I would recommend that you actually start listening to Esa's lectures. They're so awesome. And have captions at first, but then when you start learning Finnish a bit more, you can then turn them off and just listen to the Finnish to learn a bit more. So really, really cool. That's really awesome to hear. Very, very happy to hear that you have chosen to choose your own path. That's the best way to become good at anything. Choose the way that you want to go yourself, because that's the best way of motivating yourself to become great at what you do, basically. Anyway, I'm becoming philosophical myself. Let's jump forward to the next question, which comes from MD Ahad Akram again, from from Bangladesh. And Ahad has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a master's in information technology. And the question is, I want to change my field to IT. I have completed my bachelor's in textile engineering in 2013. Will I be accepted to any universities for masters in IT? Is study gap, will my 8-year study gap affect me? And I have job experience for 8 years. Yeah, so actually, Ahad, I answered your question at the start of the stream because you had a question, the same question from 2 weeks ago. And so if you go all the way to the first 2 questions in the stream, I answer your question in quite a bit of detail. However, here to quickly summarize, the fields of textile industry and IT or computer sciences are so far away from each other that I'm going with a gut feeling. So please do your own due diligence on this. But my guess, my educated guess, is that no, you're not going to be eligible to apply for a master's in computer sciences with your background in textile industry, simply because universities require you to have a bachelor's degree that makes you eligible to apply for a master's in that field. Usually, if you don't have a bachelor's degree in computer sciences, it could be, for example, mathematics, it could be physics, it could be something else that, you know, is close enough and supports your master's degree. Also, if you, for example, have a degree in economics and you major in economics, however, if you have done your minor in computer sciences, that might also make you eligible to study computer sciences on a master's level. However, if you don't have any background in computer sciences or in IT, it is highly likely that you're not going to be eligible to apply for that sort of a master's degree. Unfortunately. Super quickly, I will change just a second, actually, guys. For super quickly, I will have to change the battery in my camera. I forgot my battery in my jacket pocket, so just a second, I will get it really quickly. I will put you on my channel for just a second, so bear with me. There you go, just super quickly. All right, I do apologize. Just a moment. While I'm actually changing the battery, if you guys want to let me know where are you actually streaming from? So what country are you guys streaming from right now? That would be awesome. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. A bit of a hassle. Awesome. The next question comes from Harman, who comes from India, and Harman is still in high school and is interested in a degree in commerce or business. And the question is, can we apply for Alta University without Ielts? And what are the academic requirements for it? And what about scholarships and tuition fees per year for this university? So Harman, in your case, since you're still in high school, you would be applying for a bachelor's degree. Bachelor's degrees at Alta University are 12,000 euros per year in terms of their tuition fees. Alta University has really great scholarship options. They have basically 2 options, 50% tuition fee scholarships and 100% tuition fee scholarships, well, waivers, they're called officially. Do note that there are not enough scholarships for all students, and the exact minimum requirements to get a scholarship are not public information, so I cannot comment on that. They simply don't publish the information on who actually gets those scholarships and on what merits. What I would say here is that if you want to get a scholarship, you need to do really well in high school, and then you don't actually need to do a IELTS or TOEFL language proficiency test for Alta University business bachelor's in business. However, you need to do the SATs. And the scholarships, I do know that they are heavily emphasizing your SAT results. So if you do really well with your SATs, it is highly likely that you would be then offered a scholarship to Alta University. Please check out the specific information from Alta University website. So just Google Alta bachelor's in English right here, and then go to this page, which starts www.alta.fi. Don't go to this page saying into.alta.fi. That's not the correct one. And then from here, excuse me, you can then see the different bachelor's programs in English. There are 2 different programs in the field of business. Do not worry about them saying economics and international business. These are general bachelor's degrees, and even though the economics program focuses on economics, you do not have to do an economics degree when you do your master's, for example. So doing a bachelor's in economics will then make you eligible to apply for a master's in finance, management, international business, economics, marketing, whatever you want. On these individual pages, if you click one of them, you will then here, you will see this button, how to apply. Click that as well. And then from here, you can actually get to the individual program application page or the application information page. And from here, you can first of all get the schedule for the application and then the different requirements. So for example, in your case, you would be in admission group 2. Don't ask me why you are in admission group 2 as an international student. So you need to do the SATs, specifically the evidence-based reading and writing and the mathematics sections. And the minimum score is 1,200 points. However, do note that this is the minimum score to even get in. And do know that this might change year after year. So I would aim considerably higher if you want to get a scholarship than 1,200 as your SAT scores. So this is the minimum just to get considered into the university. So take that into account. Anyways, on these pages, you can actually find all the information that you need for the applications, the requirements, when to apply, how to apply, etc. So check them out. Mohd Manzar asking also, I got 1,370 in the SATs. Is that a good score? Unfortunately, it's hard for me to say. I have never done the SATs myself. I've never applied with the SATs, so I have no context here. So unfortunately, I'm not able to say or give you an answer here. Unfortunately, it's just not a topic that I'm familiar with. Anyway, the next question comes from Bharat Kumar, who comes from India, and Bharat is applying to the University of Helsinki or Eastern Finland to do a master's in architecture. And the question is, what is the cost of study in the universities mentioned above? Again, I cannot answer this directly because the cost of study depends on the school plus the degree itself. So for example, if you want to study business, it's going to be a different cost compared to if you want to study, for example, computer sciences. So please, for example, Google the University of Helsinki and tuition fees. Just Google that and you will get a page called Tuition Fees and Scholarships at the University of Helsinki. And from here, you can actually see what are the tuition fees. The fees for the University of Helsinki master's programs in English are 13,000, 15,000, and 18,000 euros per academic year, depending on the program. So you need to check the specific programs for the exact price. The fee for the bachelor's programs in science is 13,000 euros at the University of Helsinki. On the other hand, if you Google University of Eastern Finland tuition fees, you will get another page for them, and then here you can see go away. The tuition fee ranges between 8,000 to 10,000 euros per academic year, depending on the program. So please check out the different program pages on the university websites. It's impossible for me to remember all of them. You have to consider that in Finland we have more than 400 English taught university programs available. So there's no way for me to remember all the different costs for all of the different programs. Anyway, yeah, that's the way that you can actually find the cost for your specific program. Anyway, the next question comes from Mustakin asking in the chat, say something about low tuition fees. Is there any free universities available? there are no free universities in Finland for non-European Union students. So universities in Finland are free only for Finnish nationals and students who come from European Union or European Economic Area countries. The lowest tuition fees for non-European Union or non-European Economic Area citizens I think are 6,000 euros per year. I might be mistaken. I actually have a video on the channel called Tuition Fees for International Students in Finland. And in the description box of that video, I have a link to a free Google spreadsheet where I list all the different universities in Finland and their tuition fees per program. So if you want to check out all the different tuition fees in Finland, go and check out that spreadsheet. Again, it's in the video on my channel called Tuition Fees for International Students in Finland. And it's in the link is in the description box below, in the description box there. So check that out. All right, there's a discussion about Nietzsche. All right, super philosophical, awesome, cool. So Bobby and then Alicia having a philosophical discussion. That's cool. Nice. Let's see. All right, so the next question comes from Sabur, and Sabur's question is, I have applied to both HOAS and AYY for shared apartments 5 months prior to the start of my studies. How likely is it that I will be offered an apartment by September of 2021? I would say that that getting an apartment for this academic year is more likely from HOAS. The reason being that the queues at AYY, which is the Alta University Student Union, for those who are not aware, the queues for their apartments are very long, usually at least, even for the shared apartments. So I would say that if you have to think about, which is more likely, then I would say HOAS. But considering that you have already applied very early, it is highly, highly likely that you will be offered an apartment from HOAS at least. So I would not stress about it. You have done everything that you can do. So, thumbs up, relax, and I would just wait. Information about the apartment will most likely come a month or two before you need to move in. So don't expect the offer to come in, within the next month or so. But I would relax. That sounds absolutely fine. And you should be gold. You are super early, so I would not stress about it. All right, the next question comes from Bhavya Bafna, and again, Bhavya comes from India and is starting school this semester to do a master's in information technology at the Tampere University. And the question is, hey Oliver, I hope you're doing well. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. As you already know, I have gotten into the University of Tampere in master's in computer sciences with a 100% scholarship. Yes, I do, and once more, congratulations, applause for you, good sir, for that. That is absolutely awesome. I've mentioned this already, but you should definitely be proud. That is definitely something that not many people get. So awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Cheers for you. Tampere is a really cool city. I think Alexi himself studied at Tampere. Yeah, I think so. And you're going to have so much fun. They have a really, really cool local student culture. And the question, I missed the application into Erasmus courses. Can you tell more about Erasmus programs in Finland and how to apply for them? Thanks for everything. That's actually an interesting question. Bhavya also has a really good feedback. Just update a day before on YouTube, for example, in the community feed, that you're going to do a live stream. This way it helps to know about the schedule. That's actually a very good point. I will definitely start doing that. Thank you for the suggestion. Bhavya, actually, that's a very good question. So would you mind actually elaborating just a bit more in the chat? Again, ping me, since the chat is going wild right now. First, ping me in the chat and then ask your question or elaborate. So do you mean the Erasmus exchange programs that you would do from Tampere to another country? Because if not, I'm not quite sure what you're meaning. But if yes, then I will be able to give you an answer. But I would just need to get, a bit of a more specific answer to this before. While I'm waiting on you to elaborate a bit more, I will jump into Sue's question. And then I will get to your question after you have pinged me in the chat. Anyway, the next question comes from Sue from China, and Sue is applying to do a bachelor's in nursing in the next application period. And the question is, hi Oliver, can you tell me how is SUMC, University of Applied Sciences? Because many of my friends say that SUMC is the easiest University of Applied Sciences to get an offer from. Even without the entrance exam, they just sent the documents and then they got the admission notice from SUMC. So I think SUMC is not so good. So Sue, that's a great question. Unfortunately, I don't have personal experience in SUMC. In addition, I don't have any friends who have studied at SUMC, so it's a bit difficult for me to say. What I can say is that SUMC has excellent programs, for example, in nursing and, for example, in AI, artificial intelligence. They actually have a very high level program there, and the fact that they're accepting people fast and without that, rigorous entrance examinations isn't a reflection on the quality of the education. It's most likely a reflection of the prioritization that they put on international talent. So, for example, for their program in AI at SUMC, they are actually trying to get as many international people as possible there. They have a lot of spots there, so that's why it's a bit easier, quote unquote, to get there. So, there. What I do know, and usually what I say whenever someone asks a question like this, is I say that every single university and University of Applied Sciences in Finland is very high quality when it comes to global, level of education. Of course, not all schools might be super high in global rankings, but you have to take into account that rankings themselves do not tell that much actually about the quality of education that you get. Most university rankings come actually from academic research that the professors at the universities do and publicize. So that doesn't really have anything to do with the quality of education. But yeah, what I've heard about some from third parties, for example, from Peter Westerbacka, who's a very, very respected entrepreneur in Finland, and with whom I just released a interview about studying IT in Finland. He has, for example, praised SUMC as a very high quality school. So I would definitely recommend that if SUMC has a program that in nursing that doesn't require Finnish language skills before you apply, go for it. Definitely go for it. I can highly recommend it. Cool. All right. So let's get back to Bhavia's question. So I'm talking about Erasmus joint degrees. Are there Erasmus exchange options? Right. So, all right. So, unfortunately, I don't know about the Erasmus joint degrees. There's so many different kind of joint double degrees and joint degrees that it's impossible for me to comment here, unfortunately. Yeah, that's all I can say. There's so many different ones. I would have to actually look into the specific ones separately to be able to comment here. There's just so many freaking different programs in Finland. It's just breaking my brain. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot really say anything here. So what I was alluding to are actually not Erasmus programs. They're actually exchange programs. So meaning that when you study in a Finnish university, you can actually include into your studies a semester, usually both for your bachelor's and your master's if you want to, a semester abroad. So for example, you study in Tampere, where you actually got admitted to, and you could then include into your studies in Tampere a semester abroad, for example, in Australia, in America, or in Canada, in Germany, in basically depending on the university in Finland, they have massive networks of collaborating universities around the world, and you can apply for exchange programs depending on what kind of partner universities they have. But that's actually different from Erasmus. I basically misspoke. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have anything to say about Erasmus because it's just too wide of a topic, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Cool. Rishi comes with another super sticker while I'm trying to get a bit of breath. I'm completely out of breath talking so fast. With the super funny emoticon. I have no idea if this is good enough. There you go. That's mandatory making fun of myself in a live stream. There you go. Thanks, man. That's highly appreciated as always. Thanks for the support. Cool. Hey, Iles, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. You're actually not that late at all. If you have a question, you could still post your question into the form. There are a bunch of questions there in the queue, so I'm not sure if I can get to your question this stream. But as always, if you post your question into the Google form, I will then start the next stream next week with your question. So, you know, there is no harm posting your question if you have anything. So, yeah, there you go. All right, the next question. The next question comes from Namita. Namita comes from India. Namita, welcome to the stream. I think that this might be the first question you have ever posted, which is cool. Welcome. And Namita is actually coming to Finland for work, not for school. Awesome. That's really awesome. And Namita is coming to Finland to work in AI. Nice. That's awesome. Before I even read your question, AI is such heavily growing or such a heavily and quickly growing area. And there's so big of a demand for AI specialists. For example, our startup, I actually have a technology startup in which I'm the co-founder and CEO of, and we actually need someone, you know, specializing in AI. The problem is that we cannot afford pay anyone a salary right now because we need an investment for that. But there's such great career opportunities in AI in Finland. So cool. Anyway, Namita is saying, hi, Oliver. I hope you're doing great. Thank you very much. I'm doing actually awesome. Hopefully you're doing great as well. I'm coming to work in Espoo, Finland as a software developer this fall. Awesome. I'm not sure where I can find apartments easily with cheaper rent. Could you suggest some reliable sources to look for this? Yeah, absolutely I can. So there are plenty of different opportunities for you to look for apartments. The one problem that we tend to have in Finland is that many of the apartment, you know, provider or the websites tend to have their website in Finnish, which is completely insane, and I hate Finland for it. Just a moment, I will try to look this up for you. So all right, so if you just Google for example, Etuovi, which is a very popular rental apartment website. It's not a provider, but a website. You get a lot of, for example, ads here. Lumo.fi, zoom in a bit so that you can actually see. Lumo.fi is actually a very popular rental home provider. It's not just a website. They actually provide apartments. They're really high quality, rather affordable rent. We didn't actually have a Lumo apartment. We had a apartment from another provider. Lumo is great. They actually have a really good website as well. In English, I remember. Yeah. So I would definitely look for Lumo, simply because they have a good website which is in English, and they have really high quality apartments around Finland. So that's one. And then we have there you go, Etuovi, etuovi.com. Etuovi meaning, by the way, front door in Finnish. Rental apartments, their page is not loading for some reason, or never mind. Basically what you can do, what I would recommend you to do in this case is don't look for rental apartments in Espoo. Look for rental apartments in Helsinki in general, or at least with the search term. You will get more results this way because you're going to work in Espoo. I most likely know where you're going to work in because there's only one cluster of companies, software companies in Espoo. And it's really close to the border of Helsinki. So basically you can get an apartment from Espoo or Helsinki or a couple of other cities close by. Doesn't really matter. So Sato, we used to have an apartment from Sato. Sato is great as well. I would recommend them definitely. Avara is also another rental apartments available in Helsinki. Then you have actually never mind here. Let's see. Just Googling in Finnish just to see if we can actually have anything else here. Yeah, asunnot.com is a website that it's a very popular website, but the problem is that they only have their page in Finnish. You can always translate the page with Google Translate plugin and actually look it at look at it in Finnish. Most most landlords will not care if you don't speak Finnish. The problem is that most of the websites are in Finnish, which is really stupid. But Oikotie is one, so that's one. Lumo, Avara is one, and then Sato is one. So I think that you should start with those and then basically snowball it from there. In addition, what I really would recommend you to do, since you already have an employer and a job, actually reach out to the HR department and ask for help from them. If you are going to work in any of the companies that I highly, think you or assume that you are going to work for, most of them have big HR departments, and they should be able to help you at the least to some extent. Finding an apartment somewhere close by. So that's something that I would definitely recommend you to do. Many companies actually do this proactively, but apparently not so here. All right. Next question comes from Andrea C, who comes from Italy and is still in high school. And Andrea is interested in doing a degree in engineering. And the question is, the international baccalaureate diplomas or national programs in a Finnish school, which do you recommend, pros and cons for both? That's a really good question. If you do not speak native Finnish, I would not try to do a high school diploma in the native Finnish program, if that's what you're talking about. I would most likely apply for an IB program. There are a couple of schools in Helsinki, I think, that do IB programs. I don't remember their names because I've never looked into this that much. But I would definitely recommend an IB program if you're able to do one. I have to say I haven't looked that much into this, unfortunately, so I don't really have anything more to say here. Plus, if I would start looking for information now, I would most likely have to spend a couple of hours looking into this. So, Andrea, I'm sorry, I don't have that much more here, but I would say that IB would be what I recommend. With my gut feeling, I might be wrong here to assume this. So just keep that in mind. Sorry for not being able to give you any more information, unfortunately. Bhavya saying in the chat, Srujit, Krishtam, Alti, I do know that Alta has great business school. Oliver is an alum himself. You can look there. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Thanks, Bhavya, for pinging me there. Yeah, that's actually true. So I just submitted my master's thesis, and I should get my degree certificate in 2 months. So basically, I'm going to graduate by the end of this month officially. So I'm going to become a master's in economics, which is awesome. Finally, it's been a couple of years too much. But yeah, Alta University School of Business is the best the best business school in Finland by any rankings, by the student experience. The campus is awesome. It's in the capital region, which is awesome as well. And I would definitely highly recommend it. No matter what. You have to consider it's not the easiest school to get into, especially in the business field. So take that into account, but I would highly recommend that you at least look into it a bit more. Anyway, yeah, the next question comes from Alex from Sweden. Hey son, Alex. Alex, oh jeez, Alex, välkommen. I'm so tired. I can't even speak Swedish. Alex, fun fact, I actually used to speak fluent Swedish. I actually used to go to a Swedish-speaking school from kindergarten all the way to high school. So I used to speak very good Swedish, rikssvenska specifically. And we had a Swedish teacher, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to use Swedish, in my day-to-day life in almost 15 years or so. No, 12 years or so. So it's all disappeared. I can understand quite well, day to day, especially if you come from Stockholm, for example. But I cannot produce any Swedish language myself, which is very unfortunate, because actually Swedish would be very useful in Finland as well, especially in business. But yeah, hey son. Anyway, yeah, so Alex comes from Sweden, is starting school this semester at the University of Turku, nice, doing a master's in cybersecurity, even better, awesome. And the question is, hi Oliver, hope you're well. Takkar, yes, I'm doing actually quite well. Hopefully you're doing well as well. And I was wondering if I have to visit Finland to apply for a Finnish identification code, considering that I do not have to apply for a residence permit as a EU citizen and won't receive it that way, if I understand correctly. Seems like some private housing providers require a Finnish ID to apply for apartments. And also, what's your thoughts of Turku? Many thanks, Alex. Thanks so much for the really good question. So first of all, as a Nordic citizen, you do not need to apply for a residence permit. This is even better than being a EU student. So basically, as a Nordic citizen, you don't need a residence permit. And the only thing that you need to do is that you need to register your right of residence. No, sorry. You need to register yourself in the Digital Population Service. I don't remember what the heck it is called. Let me just really quickly check this out. Alta after admission. No, sorry. Yeah. In master studies. Just bear with me for a second. Citizens of Nordic countries right here. So register yourself at the Digital and Population Data Services Agency upon your arrival. So you don't need to apply for a residence permit at all. You also don't actually need to register your right of residency, because you're a Nordic citizen. So what you need to do is to register yourself into the Digital and Population Data Service. It's basically our ID, personal ID system. And if you want to see where I actually went, how I got to this, is Google Alta after admission. Alta University just happens to have a really great website for this. First link, and then from here, citizen of Nordic countries. You can also, of course, Google Digital and Population Data Services, and you can get to their website. And you actually get your personal ID when you have registered yourself to the Digital and Population Data Services Agency. So that's the way that you get your personal ID. The one thing that I would say here in your case is that if a housing provider asks for a personal ID, that's weird, at least especially as a student. I would recommend that you actually apply for student housing, student apartments. Those will not require you to have a student ID when you apply, because they will get the information about your admission directly from the universities themselves. So they know that you are going to be a student in Finland anyways. So, just focus on student apartments. Don't try to rent from the private market. It's quite a bit more expensive than the student apartments in Turku. But yeah, you were talking about private housing providers. Since you don't have the student personal ID yet, you will not be able to get it before you come to Finland. My understanding is this. Excuse me, sore throat. There. So what I would do here is that when you actually contact the private renters or landlords, let them know that you're actually coming to Finland as a student, and then send them a copy of your letter of admission, which shows that you're actually coming to Finland as a student. That should, reassure them that you're actually coming here. And then you will get your personal ID once you are actually in Finland. About Turku itself, or Åbo, which is in Åbo, which it is in Swedish. Turku is a beautiful city. It's a really, really awesome city. Something that a lot of people actually don't know. It used to be the Finnish capital when after we got away from Sweden. You guys used to rule over Finland. So Turku used to actually be the capital of Finland, and it's a beautiful, beautiful old city on the coast. Just lovely all the way. not the most affordable one. One of the more expensive ones after Helsinki, but beautiful nonetheless. It's definitely a university city. There's a massive university, a couple of universities of applied sciences, and a lot of students. So you should have a lot of fun. Excuse me. Sore throat for speaking for so long. All right, the next question comes from Kashis from India, and Kashis is starting school this semester at the SAMK University of Applied Sciences, doing a bachelor's in international tourism. Awesome. Excuse me. The question is, hi Oliver, I got the certificate of registration from SAMK University of Applied Sciences. Congratulations, that's awesome. Well done, man. That is absolutely awesome to hear. You're going to have a great time at SAMK, especially studying that field. Should I apply for student apartments as I do not know how the COVID situation will be in September, or should I wait? If I book the apartment and I'm not able to come to Finland, will the booking be cancelled or refunded, or can I reschedule it? Great question, and this actually applies to every single one of you. Since last year, the student apartment providers in Finland have actually prepared for this situation, because this is quite common that you would not be able to get a residence permit into Finland. And what I recommend you to do is to apply for student apartments now, again, because the queues are quite long. And then when you are offered one, accept it, unless you know that you're not able to come to Finland. And if the situation changes, then contact the student apartment provider immediately via email or by phone call, and they will then let you know how to deal with the situation. I'm not sure how whether it's going to be refunded or rescheduled or however it's going to be done. It depends on the provider. However, there are systems in place to deal with this, because it has already happened to so many different people. So I would not stress about it, but rather I would apply now and then deal with it later if this comes if this is the case with you. Excuse me. Cool. By the way, guys, I will continue with the questions just shortly. But before that, I actually just wanted to say two things. First of all, we are currently at 42 likes, which is awesome. But if you could just gently tap the like button so that we could get to 45 likes, that would be awesome. Give that for the algorithm gods. And then actually, second thing, if you are getting value out of these live streams, I would highly appreciate it if you were willing to consider joining as a channel member. So basically what you can do is you either go to the channel and click the join button right here, or click the join button under the live stream video. And when you click the join button, you can actually get this pop-up window showing the 4 different membership levels that we have currently in the channel. And each membership brings you with different perks. For example, access to members only live streams that we do once per month, where we actually get way deeper into your personal questions, because there's less people live at the same time. I can actually help you way more with your personal matters. And of course, if you're not able to, if you don't want to, or if you for some reason cannot afford to join the channel membership, that's totally fine. I do appreciate you hanging out and your support anyways. You guys are the only reason why I'm actually able to do this as my full-time job, and I do highly appreciate it. But yeah, if you're getting value out of the channel and you would like to pitch in, channel memberships would be a great way to do that. Anyways, let's move on. Next question, which comes from Bharat Kumar. Christ. Bharat Kumar. I already nailed this once today. Bharat comes from India and again is applying for a master's degree in architecture. And the question is, actually, never mind, I already got this. This was about the cost of tuition. The next question comes from MD Tarag Aziz, who comes from Bangladesh and is applying to do a master's in mathematics or data sciences. Cool. in the next application period. And the question is, are there any private university applications open for September 21 intake? So yeah, we don't have any private universities in Finland. Period. Basically, well, that's not 100% true. There are, I think, 2 private universities. However, they are not officially recognized under the Finnish Ministry of Education. They are not They will not provide you with a Finnish type master's degree. They're actually collaborating with universities in, for example, in the UK. However, I don't think those schools have degrees in mathematics or data sciences, so you can forget them. So the next time you can apply for a master's degree is in next December/January. So basically, we have the university applications for master's degrees once per year, which happen between December and January. However, there might be an alternative option. Just let me check it really quickly. Excuse me. All right. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Let's see. There are a couple of master's programs. So there are master's programs in, for example, business analytics, business informatics, and business analytics and business informatics to which you could apply still. However, those are not master's degrees in mathematics or data sciences. So just take that into account. So what I mean is Edunation, which is a Finnish company, #not sponsored, they actually provide you an alternative way to apply. So as I mentioned, there's only one application period per year for master's degrees in Finland, which happens in December-January period. However, Edunation actually partners with a certain number of Finnish universities, and they offer an alternative way for you to apply. And the cool thing here is that these application periods that Edunation has, they're quite a bit longer and they happen more frequently. So if you want to apply for the September 21 intake, Edunation would be the only way for you to do that right now. So if you go to edunation.co and go to study in Finland and then business and management, you can actually see here, go to the master's programs, compare the programs, and then you can actually see there are a master's in business administration and business informatics, and then business analytics here, which is at the LUT University, which is a great school. And they have their application period open until the end of this month. However, you have to take into account that this is actually not a degree in data science. This is a degree in economics and business administration, specializing in business analytics. So it's going to be different. However, there are no master's program applications for mathematics or data sciences anymore for this upcoming intake. Unfortunately, you would have to wait for the next year. All right, the next question comes from Muhammad Mullah, who comes from Saudi Arabia. Hey, cool, welcome. That's awesome. And Muhammad is already studying in Finland at the Arcadia University of Applied Sciences, doing a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. Awesome. And the question is, I'm studying in Arcadia University of Applied Sciences. How do I approach them to ask for jobs within the University of Applied Sciences itself? What is the possible position I could ask? Yeah, this is actually a really good question. Thank you. So the most common positions in whether it's a university or University of Applied Sciences, specifically for students, would be course assistant. That's the most common way. And what I would do in this case, and how for example, a lot of students work. A lot of my fellow students at Alta University School of Business apply for these course assistant positions, not only because it's something that it's very close to your field, because then you're helping run the course and correct the exams, etc. But they're also actually quite well paid to when compared to what the job actually is. And what I would do here is I would actually contact the course professor directly or the course teacher directly. and they will be then able to give you some kind of a sense of who to ask about the jobs from. Alternative solution is some schools also have a career page of their own. However, you have to take into account that you are a bachelor student, so most likely they will not have anything for you, as a full-time position. So course assistant would be the best, and in this case, I would go directly to the teacher, not, for example, the faculty manager. There's no point. Rather the teacher, and they will be able then to directly direct you into the correct direction. Again, I'm not promising that there is any kind of course assistant positions available, but this is the most common one that people apply for. Cool. The next question comes from Prince from Ghana, and Prince is starting school this semester at Alta, doing a master's in communications. Awesome. And the question is how long is the application process for the TRP? And the TRP is all right. Prince, you will need to help me a bit. What is TRP? Let me know in the chat, please, or if anyone else knows what TRP means in this context. So with capitalization, TRP. Prince, if you're still live, please ping me in the chat. So ping me and then tell me what TRP means, and I will be able to answer your question. Tarag, you're welcome. Hopefully the answer gave you, or my answer answered your question at least to some extent. Alicia saying it's okay, you can take a second to just breathe because your throat must be hurting. It is a bit. I usually just go for 2 hours. It's 2 hours 10 minutes right now. I'm out of drinks, so let's try to pull through the last questions, and then we should be done for today. First. All right, the next question comes from Nick from Malta. Awesome to have you, Nick, live here as well. Hopefully you're still live to hear the answer to your question. And Nick is starting school this semester at the University of Helsinki, studying a master's in biology, specifically ecology and evolutionary biology. Nice. That's super cool. I love the fact that people are, applying for different kind of programs, not just, the generic engineering stuff and business stuff. Those are fine. I'm a stupid business person myself. However, it's so cool to hear that people would like to study astronomy or ecology, philosophy in Alicia's case, etc. So it's really, really, really awesome to have people in the community from all around the world, like Saudi Arabia, Malta, China, the US, England, Sweden, Germany, Turkey, and applying for different kind of degrees. Cool. Anyway, the question is, sorry if this has been asked before, please do not apologize. The reason I am here is to answer your questions. There are multiple questions that get repeated because they are common questions, and I answer them each time, nevertheless. I saw that most Fshs apartments are not furnished. That is correct. How easy will it be to get furniture into the apartment, especially considering that I'm nervous about driving in Finland because we drive on the left and we don't get ice here? Great question. Actually, considering that you drive on the other side, I'm actually not even sure if you're allowed to drive in Finland without taking some kind of a driving test. Not sure. Really good question. So there's multiple options here. So first of all, you can of course get secondhand furniture, but those you would need to then bring to your place on your own. And that means that you're either going to need someone else to drive you. For example, if you get to know someone who is also moving into the same apartment, if it's a shared one or into the same building, you could, for example, split the cost of renting a van, and then they would drive. The other way would be if you want to, for example, order furniture from IKEA, which is perfectly fine as well. They actually have home delivery as well as assembly that you can buy as extra. So that would be one. That's actually a really good point. If you are nervous at all about driving in Finland, especially considering that you drive on the other side, and then you take into account that driving vans in the center of Helsinki is a to do, I would avoid it. Please, get used to driving in Finland with a smaller car. Don't start driving with a van at first, because that's gonna be a bit of a mess. So try to get someone else to drive or get home delivery if you can afford to pay that. Those would be my recommendations. Yeah, the one thing that I would say that if you start your school in September, so the normal at the start of the normal academic year, September, we don't have ice then at that point. You would need to care about snow and ice on the roads only maybe in December onwards, so don't worry about that at all. You can get used to driving even way before, so that's fine. Yeah, we have Imain, we have also from Morocco, which is also cool. That's awesome. Awesome to have you here as well. Anyway, the next question comes from Dimitris Rovitsis, who comes from Greece, and I hope that I pronounced your name at least somewhat correctly. Dimitris Rovitsis. Dimitris Rovitsis, hopefully. Close enough. Maybe? Hopefully. Fun fact, my godmother and godfather, they actually have a house in Greece, in one of the islands, which I will not name because it's a small island, and you would be able to most likely figure out who they are, but no, not really. But it's actually really cool. They actually have a house there, and I'm supposed to go there as soon as the COVID situation is over. I'm so in need of a holiday anyways. But hey, staying in Finland until everything is cool, so not trying to play, favorites here. Anyway, Dimitris is saying that he's starting school this semester, doing a master's in European mining. That's interesting. All right, cool. And the question is, hey, I have been admitted to the European mining course, joint master's program at Alta University. Cool. First of all, congratulations at getting to the program. I'm sure that it wasn't easy. Alta University is anyways the after all the best university in Finland in these fields. So congratulations, applause. Also sounds extremely interesting. European mining course, joint masters. Nice. All right. The question is, I'm considering to be an exchange student due to my 6 months stay in Finland or something else. Oh, sorry. I'm considering to be an exchange student due to my 6-month stay in Finland. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I considered an exchange student due to the fact that I'm only staying for 6 months in Finland or, something else? I'm asking because I have been asked by Fshs Housing and I'm a bit confused. No, so you are not considered an exchange student. You are considered a degree student in Finland. However, if you can just send Fshs a message quoting this specific degree and tell them that this is a joint degree where you do part of the degree in Finland and part in another country, and you will only stay in Finland for 6 months. They will be then able to show you to the correct apartments to apply for. However, my understanding is that you're not considered as an exchange student because you're not here in for an exchange period. So this is my understanding of it. Please discuss this with Fshs in more detail. Tell them that you're studying this degree and it's this long, and you could, for example, link the degree page to the email so they can find more information. You're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. You're still early with the apartment application, anyways. The next question comes from Nisal Isuru, who comes from Sri Lanka. And Nisal has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a master's in hospitality and culinary management. All right, cool. Hi, the question is, hi, could you please explain whether there are good hospitality and culinary management master's programs in Finland? What is the demand for this when applying for a job? Can jobs be easily found inside Finland and in this sector? So that's actually a good question, and this is why I actually stopped when I read the degree that you're looking for. So in my understanding, there are no master's degrees specifically in culinary management. There are master's degrees in hospitality. Finland. Let me just see. So there are master's degrees, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there's, for example, Masters of Hospitality Management at Novia, University of Applied Sciences. There's a master's degree in tourism and hospitality at the YAMK, University of Applied Sciences. I'll just show you. So what I did, I just Googled Masters Hospitality Management, Finland. The reason why I didn't include the culinary, because that's actually not something that we teach at a master's level. However, I'm sure that culinary and restaurant management is also included in many of these degrees. However, I've never seen that specific term being used in a master's degree program name. That's why I dropped it out. So, for example, here you can see Masters in Hospitality Management at Novia, University of Applied Sciences. Good school. Tourism and hospitality, very close to what you're looking for. At YAMK, University of Applied Sciences, I'm sure that you can specialize in specific, sectors in the hospitality field if you do this. There's international master's degrees in tourism and hospitality management in Rovaniemi, which is, by the way, Rovaniemi is a very important tourism city in Finland, at the northern part of Finland. Highly recommended as well. Lapland is actually, so the northern part of Finland is called Lapland. It's a massive area where we have most of our skiing centers, for example. It's the most important part of our tourism industry in Finland. And Rovaniemi, or doing your degree at the University of Lapland basically would give you a very good basis for your career in Finland in hospitality. So highly recommended doing this one. I'll zoom in. Lapland basically is the school that you're looking for, the droids that you're looking for. Then you have a bachelor's program, blah, that's not what you're looking for. Not the degrees that you're looking for. Yeah, I'd say that you could start with those. So for example, University of Lapland, you have the master's degree in tourism, culture, and international management. Don't mind the name, just look at the curriculum, for example, and check out what the course entails itself. I'm sure that this is close enough. So to your question, is there going to be demand for this? Absolutely. Finland is a country that is built on tourism, engineering and tourism, but tourism is a very important industry for us. And especially in Lapland, in the northern parts of Finland, we are in constant need of talented people, specifically in the hospitality industry. And I'm sure that if you do a degree there, especially in the University of Lapland, you should be fine. Absolutely. So definitely recommended. I would recommend that you check those schools out. All right. The next question comes from MD Tarag Aziz again. And as a reminder, Tarag comes from Bangladesh, applying to do a master's in mathematics or data sciences. And the question is, hey Oliver, if my bachelor's degree results do not meet requirements, then can I do a foundation or pre-master's in Alta University? Yeah, that's a good question. No is the simple answer. We don't have any kind of associate degrees, for example, in Finland. We only do bachelor's and master's degrees. So there are really no preparation or foundational degrees. For example, in the US, you would have associate degrees that you do at what are these called? They're not colleges, but they're doesn't matter. Basically, they're associate degrees, which are like preparatory degrees from where you can actually go to a bachelor's degree at a college or university. We don't have any kind of degrees like those in Finland. So basically, if you want to apply to study in Finland at a university in Finland, you have to fulfill the minimum criteria at least in order to apply. And that basically means that you need to either retake courses or go and redo your bachelor's if your current bachelor's doesn't support you applying to a specific master's program that you're interested in. So, as a general rule of thumb, again, please take into account that there's so many different topics here. I'm not an expert in all of them. I might be mistaken somewhere. Please always do your due diligence, but this is right here. I'm pretty sure that I'm correct. Anyways, the next question comes from Shrujit, who comes from India, and Shrujit he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a bachelor's in accounting. And the question is, I am interested in accounting and I am in my last year of high school and I want to come to Finland after I'm done with my schooling, high school. So can you guide me about accountant schools or programs in Finland for my bachelor's degree? Yeah, sure. So what I would recommend here is simply Google. Excuse me. So actually, never mind. So the thing is that we don't have accountant schools in Finland. We don't have schools that specialize in accounting. Accounting, if you want to become an accountant, you have to go do a bachelor's degree in business. Let's see. Let's see. The correct, I just want the correct name. So you basically need to do a degree in business administration. That's the one that you're looking for. So basically Google bachelor's degree or bachelor's business administration Finland, and you get a lot of different results. There's multiple schools teaching accounting as a degree. However, those are all universities of applied sciences. So you have to understand the difference here. University level. So accounting, if you actually want to be an accountant, that is a practical vocational degree, and those are not taught at universities. So we have universities and we have universities of applied sciences. Universities are based on academic research, while universities of applied sciences, some people call them polytechnics, are more practical. They're kind of like vocational schools for higher education, basically. So they have a more practical approach. So if you want to become an accountant, you have to apply for a University of Applied Sciences. So for example, one option for you would be Metropolia, which is a University of Applied Sciences in Helsinki, which is a very good school. And they have a business bachelor's in business administration. Sorry, oops, that's actually in Finnish. Business administration, English. Let's see. Business administration, I think that language. There you go. All right, so I think that you have to check this again. Please check the specific degree pages. Come here and check whether or not this actually includes accounting. Don't count on me just Googling here really quickly. For example, European Business Administration bachelor's degree, and then you could actually look the information here. It's 4 years, it's in English. The application period is this. Actually, that's already gone. So this is going to be for the next year, so basically 2022. The charge or the tuition fee is 10,000 euros per year for non-European Union students. And you can actually see the goals here. You can see the structure of the program, etc. So just, Google bachelor's business administration Finland, and you can find multiple different results on Google. So basically, after you have done your 4-year, 3.5 or 4-year degree at a University of Applied Sciences, then you can work as an accountant. That's basically it. But yeah, Metropolia is one option. The next question comes from Hafed from Morocco, and Hafed has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a master's in chemical engineering at the LUT University. Nice. That's really cool. And the question is there a possibility to start the application process through Edunation for master studies before finishing my bachelor's? Good question. That's a really, really good question. Out of the top of my head, I think yes. So what I recommend you to do, Hafed, is I actually have a video, a step-by-step tutorial on my channel. I can just show it to you really quickly. Let's see, step. So what I actually recommend you to do is to go to my channel and check out this video, how to get admitted to a Finnish university in just 4 weeks, a step-by-step tutorial. I actually show this Edunation application form and how to fill it in this video. I don't remember exactly out of the top of my head, but I think that it would be logical that you have to be able to apply for a you have to be able to fill the application before you actually graduate as bachelors. However, there is going to be, if this is the case, there is going to be a very strict deadline for you to submit your degree certificates to the school. If you miss that deadline, then your application is going to be rejected. Take this into account. Please check out that video. If I didn't answer the question directly in that video, then I recommend that you contact EduNation directly. The EduNation team is awesome. They're really, really cool. Hashtag not sponsored. And they actually reply quite quickly to people via email. So recommend that you contact them. If you do, tell them that Oliver sent hi. Just to, let them know that you're coming from here. I've actually had multiple discussions with them previously, and I love what they're doing. So just let them know, hi, Oliver sent me. Yeah. Hey Alex, what's up? Welcome to the stream. I'm totally out of voice. I've been talking full on for 2.5 hours, and I'm still a bit sick. So I do apologize. What's up? Hopefully you're doing awesome. We're actually, we have a couple of questions left, and then I think that we have to end the stream because I'm going to lose my voice otherwise. The next question actually comes from Daniela from Mexico. And Daniela is not yet sure whether or not she wants to study in Finland, and not sure of the schools either, but is interested in languages. Nice. Awesome. And Daniela's question is, I wanted to know if it's possible to study in Finland, if it's possible to study a course or a diploma in Finland that lasts more than 3 months, exclusively about the Finnish language. In other words, just to study the language. This is an interesting question. Alexi, actually, do you have an answer to this question? I think that you might be a bit better in terms of this topic. So I'll just reread the question. So I wanted to know if it's possible to study in Finland just a course or diploma that lasts more than 3 months, and specifically a course about the Finnish language. In other words, just to study Finnish language. Currently, I'm studying a marketing degree in Mexico, and if it's possible, do you know in which school can I do it, or is there any recommendations? I have to say, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not even going to guess here. I simply don't know. If Alexi knows better, let me know let everyone know, and especially Daniela know in the chat. Otherwise, you just have to Google. Google is going to be your friend here. I would have to Google the same thing myself as well. So it's better that you do the research on your own in this case. Hey Zahra, what's up? Zahra Abdullah, welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here as well. The next question comes from Sue from China. Again, awesome that you have been hanging out for such a long time. And Sue's question is, hi Oliver, me again, hello. Why artificial intelligence in SUMC? This degree is a Bachelor's of Business Administration, not Bachelor's of Information Technology or Computer Sciences. What's the difference between Bachelor's of Business Administration, Artificial Intelligence, and Bachelor's of Computer Sciences at Artificial Intelligence? Thank you. Sue, that's a very good question. I actually have to look into this a bit more for the next week stream. Very good question. Thank you for checking my BS. I'm not sure. I need to check this actually from the source itself. Sue, let's make a deal. I will actually look into this a bit more, and I will answer this question next week if you come live next week as well. I have a couple of sources at SUMC, so I most likely will get the answer from them before next week, hopefully. Deal? All right, let's move on. But really good question. I don't have the answer right now. I think I will have to look into it a bit more. All right, the next question comes from Ogud, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name, even though you're from Turkey. I somewhat know how to pronounce your names. However, Ogutskan Ates, right? It's just pronounced as it's written, right? Ogutskan Ates. Hopefully, close enough. Let me know in the chat. Anyway, Ogutskan is from Turkey, as mentioned, and is applying to do a master's at Alta University in biotechnology. Cool. And the question is, hi, Oliver. Firstly, I appreciate your work. Thank you very much. Appreciate you hanging out. My question is, do I have to cover my expenses with a blocked account from Turkey, even if I have relatives living in Finland and I can stay with them? I am applying to Alta University Biotechnology Master's Program in 2022, but this case bothers me a lot. Yes, I think that you still do. So the thing is that you are not allowed to rely on your parents for the finances. And disclaimer, yes, you can get money support from your parents or your relatives in Finland. However, the money has to be on your personal account. So the thing here is that if you, for example, can live with your relatives, you could, for example, somehow add that into your application if but they would need to prove that you can actually live with them. However, you still need to have the money to support yourself financially, and that has to be on your personal account. So for example, if you get financial support from your parents, that money cannot be on their account when you apply for the residence permit. Rather, your parents or relatives, they have to actually transfer that money to your account before you actually apply for the residence permit. And then if that money comes from someone else, you have to provide the Finnish Immigration Service with proof of the source of the funds. So basically, okay, telling them, okay, this comes from my parents, and here's their, job contract plus a couple of pay slips from the last couple of months. I think that this is used for money laundering reasons, I think, or to make sure that there's no money laundering here. You have to consider that people from all over the world, from different backgrounds, apply to study in Finland. So, it's not about you per se. But my understanding is that, yes, you still have to have the money in a blocked account for yourself, even if you have relatives here. Good question, though. Alexi, thank you so much for the €2.34 super chat. That is a very specific amount that is going to go directly into my espresso fund, which I'm going to need because I'm so freaking tired. I didn't sleep much last night, so that is going to go for an espresso tomorrow morning when I wake up. Ding! Thank you, brother. Alex is saying, Oliver, when will we do a collab live stream? Dude, I haven't had the time to look into StreamYard, but if you want to invite me, I could actually join your live stream this weekend if you want to. That would be actually quite fun. I'm not able to invite you to my streams in maybe a couple of weeks because I have to look into StreamYard a bit more. I simply haven't had the time. However, if you want to join me to join your stream this weekend, for example, I'm totally free. Just let me know at what time, and I'll definitely jump on board. Absolutely, yeah, that would be actually really a lot of fun. Yeah, Daniela saying that I already searched on the internet for the courses, but there is no specific information for that. But anyway, thanks for the info. Yeah, Daniela, I think that the problem here might be that if you don't get any results, and Alexia and me, neither of us get any, anything in our brain, we can't dig anything from our brains, that might allude to a situation that we don't really have those kind of courses. I know that there are a lot of language courses that you can do when you are in Finland, but I'm really doubtful that there are these month-long diploma courses that you can actually specifically that you can apply for so that you could come to Finland just for those. I highly doubt that there are anything like that. Usually you have to come to Finland on other grounds, and then you can then go to these longer courses. That's usually how it works. But yeah. Then the next question comes from Topoyo, Lesotho, from Lesotho. It's awesome that you actually got to hang out today. Awesome to have you here as well. And as a reminder, Topoyo is applying to do a master's in transformative medicine, I think it was. And in the next application period. And actually, there's no question. It's just, hi, Oliver. Hello. Hi, how are you? Hopefully you're doing fine. I'm so tired. I want to go to bed. Anyway. All right, so one more question that we have in the form, which comes from Patrick R. From Deutschland, from Germany. Willkommen. Hopefully you're doing well. I am doing horribly. I'm super tired. I'm completely blacking out. Anyway, Patrick is applying to do a master's in ETIT, which is, what is ETIT? That's a joint master's, I guess. Let me check super quickly. I think it's an Erasmus at Alta. Just let me check. I think it might be the Alta Erasmus program. I'm not sure. Patrick, if you're still online, if you could, bitte, please, elaborate on what does the abbreviation stand for in the chat super quickly so that I understand. Anyways, the question is, I will hopefully start my Erasmus in Alta in January, in the spring term. When is the best time to look and apply for housing? Great question. So basically, since you're going to be studying at Alta University, you have two options for student housing. You have Alta University Student Union Housing, which is AYY. And basically, you can apply for their housing as soon as you have been admitted to your program. Not sure whether this applies to you because you are an Erasmus student, so you get this quite early. But basically, it's ayy.fi/en/housing. Check them out, and they have information about when you can actually apply for them, the student apartments, what kind of apartments they have, how many apartments they have, what kind of a queuing system they actually have, etc. So check them out. The second one is that I would recommend you to check out is Fshs, or the second good option is Fshs, which is the Foundation for Student Housing in the Helsinki region. It's actually a non-profit organization which is owned by the biggest student organizations in Finland. For example, the Alta University Student Union is a part owner in Fshs. So they have really super affordable student apartments, which are really, really high quality. They are a sponsor on the channel. They are not sponsoring the stream. Hashtag not sponsored. However, I can say that I have been living in their apartments all throughout my studies, and I have been extremely happy. Most of the apartments are very well located. They're very high quality. They have really good services like internet, high-speed internet included, water included in the rent, etc. So you don't have to pay extra. They usually have, some of the buildings have free gyms. They have really nice saunas, for example. And Fshs, the rule for them is that you can apply for the apartment at earliest 4 months, 4 months before you need to actually move in. So if you are coming to Finland in January, then you can apply for the apartment, in September, October, November, September or in October, depending on the date. But 4 months before you actually need the apartment. So Fshs is definitely a good choice. The one thing that I would say about Fshs is that it's more likely that you will get an apartment from them than from AYY, Alta University Student Union, simply because Fshs has more apartments available, and they actually have exchange student apartments, as you can actually see here at the top right corner. Exchange students, they have specific apartments for exchange students, which would be you, Erasmus. So that's something that you should take into account as well. Plus, AYY actually has a number queue system. So basically, when you apply for their apartments, you're given a queuing number, and then you will progress in the queue as people are, either they leave the queue, they are given an apartment or something else. However, Fshs does not have this kind of a queuing system. Rather, they actually prioritize students based on their need for the apartment, financial as well as the time. So that's a really cool system, in my opinion. So these are the two options for you that I would recommend you to do. And Patrick actually saying the abbreviation is German. Right, German. So it's Elektrotechnik und right. So let me check super quickly. I just want to hit it. So that's That's Elektrotechnik und Informationstechnik. Elektrotechnik und Informationstechnik. Difficult to pronounce. I actually used to speak really good German. I haven't been able to use it day to day in years, so my German is really rusty. So please don't, burn me on a stake. But cool. All right. So electrical and information engineering. Awesome. Super interesting. By the way, actually, Patrick, you most likely didn't know this. I actually did my exchange period at TUM, the Technische Universität Munich. Or München, Technische Universität München. I actually did my exchange there in 2016 during the summer at the business school there, which was really cool, really great experience. I really loved Munich, really cool city. All right, cool. So you're from TUM Darmstadt. Oh, awesome. That's actually really cool to hear. Awesome, nice. Actually, when you come to Finland, we should grab a pint, not Guinness, but something a bit better. Guinness is, I actually don't like it. Not alcohol, I had juice. Valvira, by the way. Marketing reasons, no alcohol. Cool. Anyways, that is the last question in the form. Super quickly, Zahra Abdullah saying in the chat, "Hi Oliver, I applied to study physiotherapy at Satakunta University and I got shortlisted today. What shall I do?" Unfortunately, I don't have a solution here. It's really unfortunate to hear. I don't know what to do here. I've never gone through the process myself. I would recommend that you actually contact the university itself and ask what are the next steps here. I'm not of any help here in your case. I'm very sorry about that. That's unfortunate to hear. Yeah. I'll take one more question from Lavanya from India, living in Finland since 4 years, because she posted her question just before I was actually about to end the stream. So good for you. So Lavanya's question is, I'm sorry, she's actually studying a bachelor's in international business at the LAB University of Applied Sciences. And the question is, can you elaborate about student housing in Lappeenranta, Kela student benefits and student cards, more things that I should consider while moving? Yeah, so good questions. First of all, Kela student benefits are only for Finnish nationals or those who have a permanent residency in Finland. So unless you have a permanent residence permit in Finland, that does not consider you. If you do have a permanent residency in Finland, then I would recommend you to check out Kela. I'm sure that you're familiar with them. So the Social Insurance Institution of Finland, and they have their Kela students. Just Google that. Financial aid for students. Check this page. They have all the information laid out really well on the page. Who is allowed to get support, and what kind of support do you have, what kind of loans you can actually have, etc. Check them out. It's a very complicated topic, and I'm really confused about it myself as well. So I don't want to go too deep into it. So check Kela's website for more detailed information. Housing in Lappeenranta, I'm not sure myself. So student apartments Lappeenranta. Just Google that. And all right, LOAS is the Lappeenranta. Let's see. So that's the Lappeenranta. The Foundation for Student Housing in Lappeenranta is the local non-profit student organization, student apartment provider. Check them out. It's most likely going to be the best option for you. The same as HOAS, but for Lappeenranta. So loas.fi/en. That's the place for you to go. And then finally, about student cards. Yeah, so student cards. So when you have been admitted to study in Finland and you have paid your student union fee for your school, for the student union, you can then order a student card. In your case, because you're going to University of Applied Sciences, actually that might not even apply. So I'll just... this is way too complicated. So what I would do here is just go to meet Frank. I'm sorry, Frank Students. So that's frank.fi/en, and then go to for students. And then here you can actually see everything that you need to, everything that you need to know about student cards. Order a student card right here at the top left corner in the main menu. You can find all the information necessary for student cards from there. There's a lot of information here, what kind of student cards you can actually get, what benefits you can get. And especially since you're going to study at a University of Applied Sciences, there's a couple of different things for you to take into account compared to university students. I don't remember them by heart, so just check Frank for all the information. So, repeating myself. Frank for student cards, Loas for student apartments at Lappeenranta, and then Kela for the student financial support if you have a permanent residency in Finland. I will most likely not be able to do a application video about Loas because I would need to get access to their application system. I can try to reach out to them, but it's a very specific application system, so I might be able to do that in the future at some point, but it's not on my priority list right now because there are so many other topics that I need to talk about, unfortunately. But thank you very much for the questions. Thank you very much, everyone, for hanging out for almost 3 hours. This has been a very good live stream. Thank you very much for the super interesting questions. Once more, before you jump out, if you're not yet a member of our Discord server, I highly recommend that you join our Discord server, link in the chat. So what the server is, it's basically a way for me to build a community of people interested in living, studying, and working in Finland. And on the server, we just, have more general personal discussions about all of these topics, and I post updates about upcoming videos and live streams on the server. So if you want to be here early posting your questions in the forum, you have to be a member of the server so that you actually get alerted when I go live. There you go. Thank you very much for hanging out. Thanks for all the great questions, and I will see